to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and normally when I introduce a guest, I have a really fun, quirky way in order to make sure that you guys are hyped for them. But, why should I do it whenever our guest actually paid for someone to give them a proper introduction? Take it away, Craigslist person!
This is Goblin!
Today's guest is This Is Goblin, a Goblin VTuber, talk show host, and animator powered by unresolved trauma and sleep deprivation to bring the most immersive cartoon experience to Twitch. This Is Goblin is someone that I have noticed thanks to several other VTubers, especially our previous guest, Nilbog, and especially knowing the cool stuff that he has been able to do both when it comes to animating as well as VTubing. Like, look, he was destined to be here. It was only a matter of time. Plus, I figured with Halloween being fastly approaching us, I figured now would be a great time to really bring on the spooky stuff. And what's scarier than being trapped in a dark cave with a goblin and a skull? Actually, that sounds very nice. Can I do that? If you enjoy our guests, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer, as well as check out some of those links down in the description below to see if there's any way you want to help support the podcast furthermore, maybe the merch shop, or maybe the Discord server. And look, I think for now on, instead of trying to promote other stuff when it comes to the podcast, I want to help promote other people within the community that needs a little help. And today I want to bring our attention to a good friend, Soliel Fenley. She has been working hard, recently debuting a brand new model when it comes to, how she wants to project herself. A very fun and fantastic person who's been struggling to find some steady work, and it's getting to the point to where she's at risk of losing everything that she has built up within the past year or so. So if you can, in the description, there's a link to her GoFundMe page to where she's trying to raise $3,000 to make sure that she can keep her apartment and everything that she has so she can keep going and keep doing incredible stuff. If you guys are willing to just take the time, either donate if you can or at least spread the word, either one of those things would be absolutely incredible to help make sure that Soul can have a roof over her head more than anything else. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast.
Hi, how are you?
A pleasure to meet you properly more than anything else, sincerely.
Yes. Here I am, a real live goblin.
Yes, real live goblin in the digital flesh.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for inviting me to come on. I discovered, what you're doing through Nilbog, and I love it.
Oh no!
Have you spoken to many like VTubers or anything like that, or who are your guests mainly?
I'll say I've spoken to a good chunk of VTubers. Like I think I talked about this with like Nilbog or whatnot, but I've talked to like Eldritch Grandpa, two people that VTube as otters, whether it's Fratboy Chester or Tag the Otter. Rocco Far End, Too Much Sasha,
I've heard of half of those people.
I figured.
I know Eldritch Grandpa. Yeah. There's so many VTubers to keep track of. It's kind of crazy.
Especially when it comes to like more the indie space, more or less. Like it's so hard to keep up with them half the time.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to always bring them on more or less. And when it comes to my usual audience, it's usually just like, obviously baseline is just artists, just point blank. But I think I've honestly had more like animators on the podcast because it's so easy, especially with the indie animation space, to bring on animators in one form or fashion. So,
well, I mean, I'm an animator by trade. I've worked in animation for like 15 years, and it's kind of funny. Like, there's this little pocket of animators, animation professionals that have discovered VTubing like over the last 5-ish years.
Oh yeah,
and then we've all sort of found each other. So it's kind of funny. There's a growing community of professional animators within VTubing, and we're all kind of like plotting and scheming and trying to figure out how to, it's like the Wild West of it's such an exciting like sandbox to play in. There's a lot of like untapped potential with VTubing, and we're trying to like figure out like how do we bring like like production sensibilities, animation sensibilities into this realm,
Exactly. No, trust me, I totally get that. And like, obviously you and Nilbog are a good example of that, as well as Big Nose Bug.
Oh
Someone
yeah, Bug's great.
Bug is wonderful. Someone that I've also had on the podcast a good couple times is someone that actually designed the logo, the new logo for this podcast, Roshan Galaxy. They're also a cool animator as well.
Oh, Roshan's great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Roshan. So
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
They are one of the
Yeah, and
nicest
the
people.
whole group. Yeah, oh yeah, Roshan is so sweet. And Bug too. Bug's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It's funny, like all these like animation people I was like kind of aware of, but now I've befriended through VTubing. I'm like, I just hung out with Bug and her husband, had lunch with them last week, and
Nice.
Nilbog and I go way back. Like we went to college together.
Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say
we literally.
I was gonna say like it's something I'm definitely gonna bring up when we get to the actual like meat and potatoes of the conversation more or less. But that was something that Nilbog even brought up, the fact that you guys basically know each other for like what 20 years at this point, going all the way back to college.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, it's weird too because we just kind of follow each other from studio to studio and show to show. We have very similar sensibilities, so we kind of always end up working on the same shows together.
Oh, there you go. Hey, at the end of the day, it's a good way to keep up with a good friend like Nilbog, as well as hey,
Totally.
Paying the bills at the end of the day.
And do you have a background in indie animation? Like,
not really. So like I went to school for filmmaking. Mass media was like what the degree was called or whatnot. So TV,
oh, cool. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff like that. And then I hadn't even finished up my degree, and then like I was gonna take like a semester or two off because I was just getting to the point where I was getting burnt out by college, and then COVID happened right when I left.
Oh, perfect. You want a year off? Take 4. Take 4 years off. Whatever.
And it was it was like not even a
I could take a decade off. That's fine.
I was gonna say not even a year after I took for example, I left December 2019. Obviously, all the main stuff happened with COVID around March 2020. I started this podcast September of 2020. So I've been doing,
oh wow. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a perfect time. I always feel so jealous of people. Like I kind of missed the boat on that. Like everyone I talk to, they're like, "Oh yeah, I started VTubing during COVID. Like I kind of discovered it as like a creative outlet, so I wouldn't go insane." And I discovered it after after COVID. I was like, I wish I had known about this. Those 3 years that I was like confined to my house, I could have actually been productive, but
or at least a bit more social more than anything else, because I can imagine being cooped up, doing probably nothing but animation in the time when animation was key for working at home or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar situation to you where like I had just started working at Warner Brothers in January of 2020. I just started working on the Animaniacs reboot,
right?
And then I got like 2 whole months, in house at the studio, and then they were like, "Oh, this COVID thing." They're like, "Yeah, just everybody work from home for like a week. You'll be back in a week."
And then a week became
I
several
only
years.
started working. Yeah, they only brought us back into the new building at WB in like 23.
Oh wow. Okay.
So,
yeah.
I had a solid 3 years of working from home.
I can only imagine. See, the weird thing about me is whenever I left, I went to go work with my dad, who works at a warehouse for a company called Kubota. If you ever heard of them, freaking one of the major.
I haven't. What do they do?
They're like a major competitor for like Caterpillar and John Deere, whatnot. So like tractors, excavators, skid steers, like construction equipment, all that kind of stuff. I worked in their distribution center. So first off, I'm forklift certified. Thank you very much. But also,
nice.
Yes, but like I started working there, and that's just what I've been doing because the company that I work for is technically agriculture based. I didn't stop working the entire time through COVID, but like work definitely slowed down more than anything else. Like there was a time to where like I would get into work and then all the like our orders, because like how we do it is like we get like an order to like fill up a semi truck. We have certain dimensions or whatnot. You have to put it in there. You have to set it up, and then it gets loaded onto the truck. After you get set up. There was one time where I came in and all the orders were done within like an hour, and what was supposed to
Oh,
be an
that's
8-hour
crazy, yeah.
shift. So like the rest of the time you're just spent like just wandering around the warehouse, acting like you're cleaning and just bullshitting around.
Yeah,
more or
I
less.
love that, right? When you gotta like pretend to be busy. Yeah, I
Exactly.
know. I have a friend who worked at like the ports in Long Beach,
Mm-hmm.
and just hearing the stories over COVID of just like what a mess all that was. It sounded crazy, but
Yeah.
that's cool. It's so funny. I used to work in like a construction / like landscape design
Oh, okay.
for companies, and I would drive all the bobcats and shit, and I was never certified for it. My supervisor was just like, Gob, can you just do this? I was like, sure. And at the time, I like didn't realize how fucking stupid and what a huge liability that was. But I was just like operating heavy machinery with zero training.
Right.
I was like, I'll figure it out. I just pull this lever, it'll be fine.
See, I was at least for me it was a little bit easier because like I started off as just like a blocker. Like all I would do is when they load the stuff onto a truck, especially when it's in like a van one, not like a flatbed where you see all the stuff, but like in a van,
Yeah.
I'd have to go in there if there's any like drive-on equipment, and I'd have to just nail blocks of wood around the tires to make sure that it doesn't go rolling around in the trailer. That was what I started off doing, and because of how slow it was, like they were just so nice to where it's like, hey, why don't you learn how to operate this equipment? Or one of the people would like
skill. It's a good skill. That's more. See, what you were doing, you were actually like dealing with like you're loading like precious cargo.
Yep.
I was just like digging holes and shit, so the stakes were lower. I was demolishing like old patios.
Yeah.
With the bucket and then like digging a hole. Like I never really used the forklift attachment, but I'm sure if I had to load something into a truck, I would have destroyed everything. Precision. It wasn't about precision. It was not about precision. I was usually just like, here, smash this deck and then dig a hole.
There you go. I mean, to be fair, especially with like the Bobcat equipment or whatnot, like it's really not that hard to operate. Like it's really easy. It's really easy to mess something up if you're not careful, but it's really easy to operate.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing. It's like, well, I had a buddy who was using it too, and he didn't even really. When you're in it, you don't realize when you could like be running over like all kinds of shit.
Oh yeah,
you don't even feel it.
No, absolutely.
He like destroyed a bunch of equipment. He'd just run right over it. Didn't even feel a bump.
Yeah. No, that's again really easy to operate. Also, really easy to mess something up in it.
Yeah, really easy to get like overly confident and be like, "This is no problem." But meanwhile, you're literally driving a tank. You know, like.
Oh my god! That was especially the case. We still have these or whatnot, but with Kubota, there's a particular excavator called the KX80. It's the biggest one that we have in the warehouse, and it's literally like driving a tank. That's just how big it is, especially when you have the ones with like the metal treads instead of the rubber treads. You're literally just driving a tank.
It is just a tank. I know, it's crazy.
It's insane.
The power.
But COVID talk and social talk aside, no, seriously, thank you sincerely for taking the time to do this. This is like
that was it. That was the podcast, right? We're done. That was the interview.
And luckily,
we should just talk about heavy machine bobcats for an hour.
We really could. We really could. Like you'd be surprised, especially with how much I deal with it on a daily basis or whatnot. I could talk about all sorts of.
Hey, now more than ever, it's important. Like, yeah, learn a trade, man. Like, before I got into animation, I did like a stone mason apprenticeship, and like, that's still like, man, if this whole AI thing happens, like, I'll go back to cutting rocks. It'll be fine. That'll be the last job the robots take.
There you go. I don't know.
Stonemason.
I don't know. Something tells me that might be.
Someone needs to build the fortresses against the robots, right?
But you know what? You have a very valid point, and like, what better than like the pure hands of the humans that can know how to make that shit like the most durable possible.
Yeah.
Goodness. No. Wow. Words come back to me. No, like I was saying, sincerely, thank you for taking the time to do this. So, like, first off,
yeah, no, it's my pleasure.
First off, if it helps, I have been recording this like little pre-sound check thing or whatnot. So if it's cool with you, I'm gonna lead this and like leading into the podcast itself. So
yeah. No, that's totally fine.
Perfect.
Use whatever you want.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure I have that consent before I just drop that in there.
You have my consent.
Thank you. And now I have it in video form if I really need to prove it. Anyways, no.
Skull, you'll need to like mosaic Skull out. He does not give consent. You'll just need to put a little censor him with the mosaic.
Maybe I can get my own little skull and see if I can put him.
Oh, sweet! Oh, you have some competition, buddy. You have some competition.
Just a little. I will say the weird thing is
that's cool. I love that.
I got it at Disney. During at the Epcot,
nice.
at Epcot area or whatnot, like in the Mexico area of it or whatnot.
Cool.
They have these, like it says at the bottom, you know, Heco in Mexico, which I'm just assuming is just made in Mexico. So
yeah, well, that's good. It's authentic. That's good. I'm glad.
Also, I'm gonna say this is really weird because like you were talking to the school or whatnot, and normally there should be some sound effects to go with it, but I think because you're using like your camera and your mic or whatnot, I can't hear the sound effects.
I know. It's okay. Just use the power of your imagination. But yeah, there should be like I think when he like coughs up the cockroach and shit, like
if you
there should be sound effects, but you probably can't hear that. It's fine.
I'll say if you could just send me just like all the sound effects that you correspond with or whatnot, I'll try to like match it up as best as I can.
Oh god, no. I'm not gonna make. Yeah, can you go through and do all my sound design for me? We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post. That's how animation is made, guys. No. I won't make you do that. I mean, there's only a couple sound effects. There's like when I have a couple like triggers, like Skull coughs up thanks, buddy. The cockroach, and then I have like my little. I interviewed like someone who identified as a vampire on stream.
Kira, right? Or Kyra?
Kira. Yeah, that's correct. Where'd that go? I already fucked it up. So I have my little drink. Yeah, everybody hydrate. My little drink trigger.
There you go.
They all have little sound effects and shit. This is the most important one. This one has a very clear and obvious sound effect. You're not a VTuber without some boob physics.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, but yeah, it's fine. You're not missing out on much with the sound effects. I'm just gonna do them all constantly throughout the entire interview, so that you're really gonna have to put a lot of work into place all those sound effects. Gonna be munching on cockroaches for the whole hour.
I'll just do like my own like DIY Foley or whatnot, and just like
that's even better. Yeah, custom Foley.
Yeah,
nice.
Custom Foley. Let's
Quality.
do it. Look,
what a job. See, actually, that would be a fun job. I would love to be a Foley artist.
Right? Like, especially seeing like all the stuff they use to mess with or whatnot. Like, it's gotta be so satisfying to make the Foley. It's gotta be such a task on its own to like find the right Foley, like find the like what thing you have to use in order to make the noise you want it to. That's gotta be like one of the more stressful parts about that job.
It's like oddly satisfying, even just with like stock. Like I cannot tell you how long it took me to pick a clicking sound for Skull.
Mm-hmm.
The sound design, there's just something about it when you find the right sound. It's so satisfying.
Oh no, absolutely.
Even if it's just stock audio. But yeah, like I pitched it up a little bit. Like I got really picky because I'm like, I'm gonna have to hear this sound of Skull clicking all the fucking time. Probably never gonna change it again. So yeah, it better be good. Better sound right.
I'll be sure to do my best because at the Postmodern Podcast we aim for quality. Okay.
I appreciate. Hey, if you're doing custom Foley, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Exactly.
I'm over here using stock sound effects like an amateur.
Well, it's one of those, like, again, like you said, it'd be fun to be a Foley artist for like a quick second, so like figure out the weird little or whatnot.
Foley artist social media is the most fun algorithm and rabbit hole to go down. Like
really?
A lot of them have like you should look up a lot of Foley artists. They have like TikToks and Instagram and they'll post reels of like their process, and it's captivating. It's so fun. Even the rooms they work in, and they're just surrounded by weird junk that they make sounds with.
Like I've seen videos of like Foley artists like in their like habitat or whatnot, like working on Foley or whatnot. I've seen how fun and chaotic those rooms can be or whatnot. I just didn't realize there was a whole entire like social media aspect to it. Which
it's crazy. Go down. I highly recommend it. Go down that rabbit hole. Everyone get your algorithm to show you like Foley artists because it's like captivating. It's so fun to watch.
Okay,
it's got like a little bit of like an ASMR quality to it. It's interesting. It's those rooms alone. Yeah, they have like little, even the ground. They have little patches of different like materials on the floor. Like they'll have a little section of hardwood and then
Yeah.
a section of concrete and gravel, and it's so fun. What a weird job.
It's a weird job, but I imagine it's a dream job if people can get it.
I say that as I speak to you as a cartoon goblin. Like, wow, what those people do, that's really weird. That's just, I don't understand that. I don't get that.
I mean, for us, we're just like, we're around like, especially you're around this stuff all the time. Like, this is just second nature for you.
Yeah, I always forget that this is very strange, that this is not normal. The normies would not approve of what we're doing here right now.
I'll say, well, luckily here we're not the normies, so let's
Thank God.
Trust me.
Thank God for that.
Absolutely. All right, Goblin, before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a deserted island on your own accords. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations, I shouldn't say deserted, more like a personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit.
Okay, there's running water. I get a toilet.
Yeah. That's running water, toilet, air conditioning, all that jazz. So.
Okay, beautiful.
To make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Oh my God. I have the most uninteresting millennial answer ever, and it would be seasons 3 to 10 of The Simpsons.
Okay.
That's all I need. I could watch that on loop forever without ever seeing anything ever again, and I'd be totally happy laughing at the same jokes I have memorized like a maniac.
You know what? That is extremely valid more than anything else, because I assume you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, let's be honest, those are like some of, if not the best seasons and best moments that people still quote and meme about to this day when it comes to The Simpsons. I mean,
some of the best just like comedy writing where like every line is like a joke, but also drives the story forward and develops the characters. And it's honestly, again, I sound like such a fucking millennial, like worshiping The Simpsons, but it really is. It was one of the biggest inspirations to me as a little goblin to get into animation and performance and comedy and all of that. So that's honestly all I need. I mean, I am, I would miss the rest of it though. I am very much like pop culture junkie, movie junkie, and I'll watch anything. I have really horrible taste. Like I enjoy everything. I can find value in even the worst things, but that's my very uncreative.
Well, I was say to be fair, you're on this island as long as you want to be. It's not like you're trapped here for like the rest of your life.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like you can enjoy as long as you want, watch the episodes as many times as you want, and then after a while you're like, all right, I've had my fill.
Being held captive, not being held captive. Okay, so then you know what? I would hang out and watch all of those seasons, and then when I'm done, I guess I'd just go home when I'm done.
Exactly. Fine. Exactly. Yeah. That is the perfect way to illustrate it. But regardless, seasons 3 through 10 of The Simpsons, those are your answers. You're locking that in.
Correct. Locking it in. Final answer locked in.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You will look fantastic in the merch we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a Goblin VTuber, talk show host, and animator powered by unresolved trauma and sleep deprivation to bring the most immersive cartoon experience to his audience on Twitch. Welcome to the podcast, Alfonso Roosevelt, a.k.a. This Is Goblin!
Hey everybody! Oh my God, you even called me by my new name, Alfonso Roosevelt. That's amazing. You did your research, my friend. Thank you so much for that incredible intro. That was beautiful.
Of course, I did my research. I'm not. I've said this before, and I said this again. I'm not just gonna bring a random person on here, like, all right, so it's you. Who the fuck are you? Like, no, like, there's a reason why I wanted to have you on this podcast. I wanted to make sure I showed you more than anything else. I did the research. I went in deep.
I appreciate that. It brings a tear to my eye. Thank you so much. You see that? I'm a sentimental little guy. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Well, absolutely.
And thanks for having me. This is great. It's really nice to talk to. I feel like we've already been talking for an hour leading up to this. So it's been fun. We got to talk about heavy machinery.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Oh no, trust me. People are, if they've stuck up to this point or whatnot, that again they'll see that part of the conversation that's still in there.
Oh, so, good. Yeah, put that in there. Everyone needs to hear us talk about driving bobcats and. Don't report me. I was unlicensed. I was just,
Well, first things first, I have to figure out, like, okay, so this person, what is their employee name? This is Goblin. Do we hire a This Is Goblin? Needless to say, I think you're safe. Just a sneaking suspicion more.
They're coming after me.
They're coming after you. But regardless, sincerely, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. It is an absolute honor to have you here more than anything else, because I talked about with your good friend Nilbog, which for those who have not watched that conversation, I highly recommend you pause this video right now, go back and watch Nilbog's one, and then come back to here, because it is a fantastic chat, and to hear how you guys' like histories are very intertwined while you are also presenting yourself in such a fun and unique way as well. Like, I was just honored to even get a conversation with you, let alone have you on the podcast. So get some good munchies in there. But regardless, like, sincerely, thank you for taking the time to do this. Before we talk about the stuff you are doing nowadays, though, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Gabo. What got you interested in art and animation and stuff in the first place?
Well, I'm very one-track minded. I mean, like, it's since for as long as I can remember, I wanted to work in animation. I vividly remember being like a little kid and just trying to figure out like what the hell animation was. I was like, are they actual living creatures? Are they actors? I formulated this theory because like in old Disney movies, they would recycle character designs a lot. Like Baloo was also like, what's his name, Friar Tuck or whatever in the Robin Hood, or they would reuse a lot of designs in those like classic Disney movies.
Right.
So I came up with this theory that they were like actors, like they were real living creatures, and they would just cast them as actors in movies. That made total sense to me.
Honestly,
but no, I wanted to be an animator since I was a kid. You know, when you're like in grade school, or you're like in grade 1 or kindergarten, I don't know, whenever the fuck you do that, but you got to fill in the blank. Like, when I grow up, I want to be blank.
Right.
So I still have that paper, and I wrote that I wanted to be a cartoonist or an ice cream truck. So those were my only two options ever. Yeah, I didn't want to be the guy driving the truck. I wanted to be
the truck.
Goddamn truck. I wanted to be the truck. So that is still my plan B. Fortunately, I haven't had to resort to it yet. But yeah, no, I was very one-track minded since a little kid, just fascinated by animation, always loved to draw, and it was this or nothing. It was either become a cartoon goblin online or the ice cream truck thing. So no, my whole life was kind of geared towards the goal of working in animation.
Okay.
I remember anything remotely animation related, I was all over it. Loved like playing Mario Paint as a kid, and any like Kid Pix and any games that allowed you to draw or fake your way through some animation. I remember learning like Flash at like the public library. I like asked my parents if I could take a Flash course at the library. Like, that's the level of dork you're dealing with here. Where like as a child, I was like, can I please go to the library and have some strange sweaty man? It was just me and this guy, and but he was great, and he taught me, like, that was my first actual real animation. He taught me how to do like motion tweens and how to, I learned how to draw with a mouse at the time, and it was just so eye-opening.
And that man turned out to be Steven Spielberg. No, I'm joking.
Yes. No, I'm a little far removed from Spielberg. I have worked on some of his projects, but no, yeah. So fortunately, it worked out. Here we are.
I was gonna say, like, I'm glad that did work out. Though, let's be honest. Like, if I had the opportunity to talk to an ice cream truck, I would. Like, that would just be like, dream creme de la creme, ice creme de la creme, I guess.
I think I just wanted to be full of all those frozen treats. I think it was like a weird plot to just have all the ice cream for myself. I think that was my goal.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you say, that's a good, that might be the backup option. I mean, given your connections with animation, like I'm sure you can somehow like harvest the power of like the Transformers or something like that to like truly believe yourself to be that ice cream truck. Because I believe in you.
Ice cream. I mean, look, the AI is coming for us, so I might have to become that ice cream truck sooner or later. It's gonna happen.
I now need to see fan art of This Is Goblin as an ice cream truck. I'm sure there's someone out there has to be crazy enough to do that. But back to the conversation itself, it's really cool to know that love has just kind of always been there in one form or fashion. Because like I think I talked about this with Nilbog a little bit, but I'm also kind of like that in the way of like I always loved like seeing the behind the scenes stuff when it comes to like how film and stuff was made. So like you were talking about like seeing the animation, like how they were like reused with like Disney stuff. I remember like growing up watching movies. Sometimes I would watch the special features, like the bonus features of it, before watching the actual movie itself.
Me too. I know. Sometimes that stuff's more interesting than the movie. Yeah.
Right? Like was how things are, put together, kind of like the Foley stuff we'd also talked about as well, how that stuff gets like put together and ready to go. It leaves me curious as well, because obviously I see there's certain points where you kind of always knew that you wanted to be an animator, but when was the moment that more or less clicked for you that this could be your career? Like when did it go from like something that you loved and something you wanted to like strive for to like, hey, this is a reality, I could be the animator?
I don't think it completely dawned on me until I was in college for animation, and in my third year, I did an internship, and I got to I had never been to Los Angeles before. I got to come out to Los Angeles. I did a summer internship at a small indie studio, and that was really like the moment where I was like, oh wow, this is like a real career, a real industry, a real job. I got, a tiny taste of being around all these like-minded artists. I grew up in Canada.
Right.
I went to kind of like a very academically focused school. So I wasn't around growing up. I was always like the weird artsy kid. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't around my people yet. I hadn't found my people.
Right.
So going to college was sort of the first step where I was around other artists, and there's so much value to that, just being around other creative people. And that's also why I love VTubing. We'll jumping ahead, but we'll get to that. But like just being surrounded by other people with common interests and a passion for the same things you're passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's infectious. It really, really gets the juices flowing. But yeah, so once I did my internship, that's when it kind of set in like, oh, okay, this is a real thing that I can actually turn into a career.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, once again, I completely relate to that, oddly enough, because one of those, like, again, I grew up in a place where it was basically just, country valley, more or less, I'd say. It was one of those places to where in high school, if you were in the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, you were one of the weird ones. I was one of those weird ones because agriculture wasn't my biggest interest or whatnot. It wasn't until I actually got to college and got to be a part of a club there called Film and Video Society that I realized, oh wait, I can actually be in films. I can actually like work on films and stuff. I can do this kind of stuff. That's really cool. So I can understand, like, for you, like, not really being around that environment until you were actually there in the heart of it at, the indie studio, like, actually being able to see how the hot dog was made, more or less. Like, that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can understand why that was.
There wasn't. Exactly, because, and that was the thing, too, like, where I grew up in Canada, where there wasn't, like, a huge animation scene.
Right.
So it was one of those careers where people knew about it, but like it seemed like a fantasy, to a lot of people. And luckily I had very supportive parents and everything, but even my friends and teachers and stuff growing up, I think a lot of them were like very skeptical and would gently try to like talk me out of it. Like, what the fuck is this cartoon thing you want to do? Like, What is that? So yeah, being out there or being out here, I'm here now, but being out here just kind of, it was validating. It was like, oh wow, there's like really so many talented people. They're all professionals. They're working on really cool stuff. it's important work. They care about it. It's
Yes.
meaningful, so it felt good. I was like, okay, this is not just me goofing around. This is actually a real thing. And then I graduated and I actually ended up working at that indie studio. They're called 6 Point Harness. I ended up working for them for like a decade, but that was great. I really loved working in the indie setting. I know you said you're a big fan of indie animation, and there's a lot of indie on this podcast. So, still a studio, but it was a smaller, scrappier studio. Like at its largest, it was probably like 100 people, which is very small for an animation studio.
I mean, regardless.
And it was yeah, exactly. And it was one of those places where, like we were the vendor. So whatever came through those doors, whether it was like a music video or a movie or a series or, whatever, we'd work on it. So I got to work on the craziest variety of stuff. Some good, a lot bad, but, you get to wear a lot of hats and you really get to like hold a lot of different positions, and I don't think I'd be able to do what I'm doing with VTubing had I not had that experience, because at an indie studio and just being an indie animator in general, you really learn you have to be a generalist. You kind of have to know a little bit of everything, whereas at the bigger studios, which is great too, but you tend to stay in your lane a little more.
Right.
You're given a task and that's it. You don't leave that lane.
It's one of those, like, at the indie studio they're asking for a jack of all trades. Meanwhile, at the corporate level or at the big studio level, they're more asking for, like, not necessarily a master of one, but like a very experienced person of one. At the end.
It was crazy. I mean, they let me direct like voiceover sessions like very early into my career. I think I'd only been working with them for like a year. They let me direct episodes of this TV series we were working on, which I was not qualified for at that time, but still, that's always the best way to learn something, is to just be thrown headfirst into it. So I don't know, they saw something. I mean, they had at least enough faith that I wouldn't fuck it up.
Right.
So, but it was great. I learned a lot, and yeah, I really value my time at that place, because again, like I primarily, across my career, I've primarily been an animator and an animation director. But while I was there, I got to do a lot of storyboarding and a lot of layout, which is like a position that doesn't really exist anymore. But a lot of character design, editing, directing. Like I said, like I even got to do some VO. I got to direct VO. It was great. It was a really great experience.
I mean, it sounds like in an environment like that, it's really one to where if you're not sure what part of animation you want to be a part of, you'll figure it out real quick, because they'll give you an opportunity to try anything if they need someone for it.
You're totally right. And, like I'm always kind of weary to like tell people like, this is what you must do to become a success in animation. There's no right or wrong path. Everybody has their own path.
Of course.
But just from my personal experience, I would say like, get at least early in your career, you got to work at an indie studio at some point, and like a lot of them are non-union places and you won't get paid as much and all that, but the experience you get at a place like that, I think in the long run makes you more employable and makes you a more valuable employee than to the big studios, because you're more versatile. You can make yourself useful in many different ways, and it also just the power to do your own projects and just have a broad skill set that you can then turn into, whatever the hell it is that I'm doing now, or
Right.
if you want to make short films, or you want to start like a YouTube series or whatever. Like, it's just a really good way to train yourself. Like, honestly, like I'm thankful for the animation college I went to, but I learned more from that one summer internship I did at 6 Point Harness than 4 years at an animation college. Like, because it's like practical, hands-on experience.
Yeah.
They actually let me like animate scenes that ended up in a show, and I was like, it's so green. No pun intended.
Yeah, I know,
At
right?
the time, I was even greener than this.
Yeah.
They really like taught me everything that I use still on like a day-to-day basis. I can trace back to that internship.
I mean, because I know, like, in my experience when it comes to, like, in college and whatnot, it's not that they don't give you the opportunity to work on that kind of stuff, is they're also trying to teach you, like, a lot of different things in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, a few months on something is not really when they're trying to teach
Yeah.
multiple things and multiple lessons, all stuff like that. Meanwhile, like, actually being, like, at the studio in that internship or whatnot, like, you get to truly experience and be more hands-on and be more immersed with it, because it's you focus on it, not like a teacher focusing on like 20 different students or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And they try to like simulate what it's like to work on a production, like our third year we did like a group film,
Mm-hmm.
where we all pitched the ideas, and then someone's idea would be voted on and they'd become
Right.
the director, and then everyone would get a position on the film. So they tried to sort of like simulate, a studio, a real production, and what it's like to work, because that's the thing with animation. It is such a team sport.
Absolutely.
But there's just nothing like the real thing. And again, like, especially right now in animation, like it's a weird time. There's not
Yes.
enough work to go around, unfortunately. So, just to be employable, it always helps to have a couple skills. Even if, like, for me, for instance, like, animation is my focus, but if need be, I can design, I can storyboard, I can do a couple other things.
Right.
Maybe not well, maybe not, definitely not the best there is, but again, just to be proficient in a couple things, and have those options available to you will make you more employable. And
Yeah.
stability is tricky right now. But the good news is, I also feel like we are kind of, I'm an optimist, and I feel like we
Oh
are in
yeah.
a golden era of indie right now. I feel like indie animation is really killing it right now.
Oh, trust me. Given the amount of people that have been involved with indie animation in one form or fashion that have come and gone through this podcast, yeah, no, we are truly at like a, if not the golden time for indie animation, at least like a very special time in indie animation, to where like people can easily look at this moment that we're currently in and be like, there was something special going on. We don't know exactly what it was, but if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't get XYZ, you know?
Yeah, well, I think a big part of it too is just that, and it's always impressive to me, but a lot of the tools, there's so many tools that are like open source. There's so many
Yeah.
free tools, because like, even just like maybe like 15 years ago, even maybe like 10 years ago, like, it was basically, like, if you wanted to get into animation, basically like either Flash or Harmony, and that was
Right.
it. But yeah, there's so many, and especially in the age of Blender, and a lot of the VTuber tools are free to use, and
Mm-hmm.
OBS is like an insane tool, and that's free. That blows my mind that OBS is free.
Right.
Um, yeah, we're just, all these things are so accessible. Um, so it is really easy to just make something these days. And distribution is even easier, because we all have social media.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is exciting. It is cool to see things like Flow, like seeing Flow win Best Animated Picture, like, kind of blew my mind. Like,
Right.
cannot believe on such a mainstream thing, like, again, like maybe like 5-10 years ago, like the only films you ever saw nominated for Best Animated Picture in the Oscars were always like whatever the current crop of Disney and DreamWorks movies were, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the lineup, the nominations now are a lot of like indie stuff and international stuff, and you're really starting to see like a variety. I do feel like animation just in general is a little more understood by mainstream audiences. It's becoming less and less of like this weird niche form of entertainment.
Exactly. No, no, that absolutely. I mean, like you said, especially an indie film like Flow getting Best Animated Feature is a major statement when it comes to that. And just like, again, talking about like the different studios and different reaches they're able to have that they may not have had, like I said, even 5 or 10 years ago. Like 5 or 10 years ago,
And made in Blender, like,
yeah,
guys, you can start today. You can learn Blender right now. It's amazing.
yeah. I mean, like, especially for you, like, I imagine like learning Blender today would be like when you were starting off at 6 point harness, back whenever you first start off at that. It's like you may be going in being like, how in the world do I do this? But after having some time to work with it and understanding it a little bit, like you can feel at least competent enough to put something coherently together that you can put out there and be like, hey, enjoy this. This is gonna be good. Hopefully. maybe, possibly.
That is, yeah, that is the most important thing. Like art needs to be democratized. Like you need to, for it to flourish, like you need to give access to the tools. And also that I think that's why, ironically, why Flash was sort of like the industry standard tool for as long as it was,
Right.
because everyone had a fucking bootleg copy of Flash. I back in the day, I never, up until recently, I never paid for an Adobe product.
Right.
Like, you know, their bootlegs were everywhere. Like it was crazy, which is actually beneficial to them, because then you could just pick it up and you could learn it and you can make something with it. And everyone knew how to use Flash. Everyone was so proficient in Flash, so therefore it became the tool that studios used, and it will, for a long time it was the thing. And now, you know, we have Harmony, but it's really interesting because it's become the opposite with Harmony. Harmony is they police it very strongly. It's a very expensive software. I mean, I don't even own a license for personal use. It's not necessary. I use the Adobe suite, which,
Right.
hey, just for the record, I pay for it now. Don't come after me, Adobe. Adobe, I'm here promoting your product. This is
Yeah.
Adobe Character Animator I'm using right now, so don't come after me.
Oh,
And I
trust
pay
me.
for it. I pay for it, guys.
I'll say, trust me, we're going to be promoting that a lot when we get to the whole entire VTubing stuff more than anything else. And trust me, I can partially promote it because I still pay for Adobe stuff when it comes to editing. All right, like I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but yeah, with Harmony, it's sort of become the new industry standard tool. But it is really difficult to find people and studios that are really proficient with Harmony, because it is behind this crazy paywall,
Right.
and therefore it's hard to access for personal use, and therefore a lot of people don't know how to use it, because unless they're using it in a professional setting and they're learning on the job, they're not going to know how to use it. And you know, so again, like things like Blender is for sure, it's already becoming the 3D tool. Blender is going to be the standard for everyone if we continue on this trajectory. It already is becoming that, but
Yeah, basically.
again, because anyone can pick it up, anyone can learn it, and that's great. That's amazing. And look at the art that comes out of it.
Absolutely.
Nilbog was made with Blender.
Oh, yeah.
Unreal, and yeah, the stuff people are making with Blender these days is just, it's inspiring.
It's absolutely insane. And again, like compare that to again when you were starting off at like 6-point harness, like I can only imagine that must have been like leaps and bounds, something you couldn't even imagine. Because like I can only imagine back in the day when you had even started off, like with what you did have access to, you were just surprised to even get the opportunity in the first place. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Exactly. And I mean, it was pretty much just Adobe. That was pretty
Yeah.
much the only thing we had. If you were a creative, like it was Adobe or nothing. It was Adobe or like some shitty browser drawing tool that didn't really work, that was
Right.
totally impractical for production purposes. But yeah, now just there's so many creative tools, and I love that though. Even with the you know, the existential threat we face with like AI, I'm still pretty optimistic, because I do feel like as artists and as indie is so popular right now, and people are really motivated to make their own stuff, and they're being allowed to succeed. They're being allowed to sort of like rise to the top, and you know, be able to fund their projects, and there's a demand for it. Like audiences are smarter, I think, than the studios and people in general give them credit for. I don't,
Absolutely.
you know, they always say like IP and sequels, and that's what people want to see. I don't think that's true. I think when given the option, if people are given really good quality original indie content, it seems like they'll usually go for that.
Yeah. In one form or fashion, no matter what. I mean, for God's sakes, one of the biggest indie animated projects these days is like the Amazing Digital Circus. And I mean, look at how the like the way that that's been animated, like, you know, 3D, all the different aspects of it, like the
They're
fact,
killing it. It's
yeah,
amazing.
it is
Oh yeah,
absolutely
it's
insane.
so beautifully made, and I mean, they merchandise the hell out of it, which I see
Yes.
some in the background there.
Oh,
even
yeah.
at your place, like good, that's great. No, I love seeing that. Like we should all, honestly, honest to God, everyone go buy a plushie right fucking now, because honestly, like we have to support indie artists now more than ever. And you know what? They are making the content I enjoy the most is made by indie artists.
Absolutely.
I'm still a sucker for like And I'm part of the problem, guys. I work on big franchise IP stuff during my day job, which there's value to that too. I love all that stuff too when it's done well and it's well made. There's nothing wrong with IP and branded content.
No, of course.
But it can't just be that. And unfortunately, the studios, it's too risky for them to invest in original indie ideas usually. So we need to step up and do it ourselves,
Absolutely.
and we got to support each other for sure.
Absolutely. Trust me, I couldn't have said that better myself. As again, especially with someone that brings on so many creators that are taking that step and trying to do what they can to promote their own indie animation stuff in one form or fashion. The person that helps me out with the podcast, TipsyJHearts, she's worked on like multiple different ideas that she's been wanting to bring to the world, more than anything else. So the opportunity is there, and we need to be showing that love and support back to those indie animation creators whenever we can. Just indie creators in one form or fashion. I mean, that's the basis of this podcast, more or less. Any chance
I love that. No, and that's why I was so excited to talk to you, and I love what you're doing because, I mean, as much as we can lift indie artists up, we should. Because they are creating now more than ever some of the coolest shit. It's amazing to see what indie can do.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, and speaking of what indie can do, I'm curious on what you were doing when you were in indie with 6-Point Harness, more or less. Like, at the very least, do you remember some of your favorite projects or some of the favorite moments that you got a chance to work on while you were at 6-Point?
Well, 6-Point had a lot of like originals as well, and those were always fun. Back in the day, I got to work on like Dick figures. I don't know if you remember, like,
yes, I remember. I remember Dick figures very fondly.
Yeah. I got to work on a lot of those like Mondo series back in the day, which were all just created by people at the studio, So it was, there's less rules when you're working on stuff like that, and you can take bigger swings and just get weird. So that stuff was fun.
Yep.
But then I still have a fondness in my heart for like. I worked on this show that like no one saw, but I still it holds a very special place in my heart. It was called Good Vibes. It was this is like way back in 2011. This was like during the time of the first Beavis and Butthead revival, and MTV was like it was like their last dying breath of like trying to have an animation block. So they brought back Beavis and Butthead for the first time, and they also produced this show that I worked on called Good Vibes, and it was created by a long time Simpsons storyboard artist, and it had a very Simpsons vibe. It was basically like The Simpsons if it took place in like Southern California.
I was gonna say, was that one of the ones where Josh Gad had some of his first voice acting credits?
Yes. Okay. So it starred Josh Gad. He played Mondo, and it was basically like, it was very like Superbad. It was very like two teen boys. Josh Gad played this kid who moved from like New Jersey to like Southern California beach town, and fish out of water kind of thing. Him trying to fit into like this Southern California surf town as like this like awkward chubby New Jersey kid, which a lot of us can like relate to.
Yep.
But it was a great show. It was really good, but it was just, again, so much of this industry is just like timing and being at the right place at the right time. And when that show came out was right around the time like Netflix was starting to take off, and people were not really watching TV anymore. So it failed. It didn't. And so did the Beavis and Butthead, that first revival. One season, and same with Good Vibes, one season, and it was done. But I really loved working on that show, and it was one of my first experiences. Like I got to direct on that show, and it was very early in my career, so I hold a very special place in my heart for it. I thought it was a great show. I thought it was really fun and charming. But it's so interesting because it's like one of these forgotten it's almost like lost media. I don't even know if it streams anywhere. I don't know where it exists anymore.
I'm sure it's probably like somewhere within like the depths of Amazon or whatnot. I was gonna say you'll be happy to know that
No.
if there is no one else that watched it, that means I passed away. Because I remember whenever that show was coming out, I remember watching at least like the first couple episodes or so. So I remember that show, like very like the art style more than anything else. I loved that art style that you guys had with that. So yeah, like I'm so glad to hear that like something that I watched when I was a teenager at that point, like 14 or 15 years old, like something that I watched then you had a hand in making, which is really
you
cool.
were the target audience for sure. It was definitely look, it wasn't very I'll be the first to admit it was not very highbrow. It was definitely a show for 13-year-old boys. A lot of boob jokes.
Yep.
You know, boobs were like the punchline to like almost every joke.
Yep.
Which, you know, I haven't really grown out of that, but you know, there's a time and place for that stuff.
Of course.
But no, it was fun. It holds a special place. But yeah, then, you know, also at 6 Point, they really taught me how to pitch as well. Like they were always, because it was an indie studio, they very much encouraged the employees to like, hey, if you have an idea to pitch to us for like online content or YouTube content or something you want to pitch to bigger studios, like come to us. And so I pitched a lot of ideas to them, and you know, they reached various stages. And at one point, I directed a pilot for Hulu that didn't end up getting to series, but still, those experiences are so valuable. And like, look, as an artist, like everyone can attest to this, but you know, like it's competitive, and more often than not, the ideas you pitch never see the light of day. But there's still a lot of value in that, in just familiarizing yourself with that process, and just learning how to write, how to form an idea, how to present that idea, and then when it doesn't work out, how do I make it better next time? How do I, you know, so much of everything we're doing here is about persistence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's really cool that like what some could easily look at as like, yeah, that was just like a stop on the way to like what was ultimately my career path. It's cool to hear how instrumental it was for what you would continue to do and how you continue to progress. Also, I just want to say,
I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm winging it every day. We all are. Like I'm learning every day. There's lots of shit I like would love to be better at, and you know, that's the enemy of our stagnation, right? Is the enemy of the artist. Like,
no, absolutely.
You need to keep moving. You need to keep you need to be curious. That's like one of the most important traits for an artist to have. You need to be like endlessly curious, and just wanting to like experiment and learn new things. And
no, absolutely. Like it's always a good mentality to have, especially as you continued on your career. Once, you know, you did your work with 6 Point Harness, is that whenever you were able to get into working with a bigger studio such as Warner Brothers, like how did the Warner Brothers opportunity come to you?
Honestly, like I stayed at 6 Point by choice for a long time because I just liked the culture of an indie studio. It was very, you know, we're all very close. I really liked the variety of working on, like every couple of months I had a new project in a new style and a new genre. It was just very exciting and fun. But you know, then, you know, again, like life just kind of caught up, and I was like, well, you know, like I should probably focus on maybe I need to start my like retirement savings. Maybe I need to start a 401k. Maybe I need health benefits. Maybe I need to go see a doctor sometimes. I don't know. So I started prioritizing. Yeah, right. I started. Yeah, like it's maybe I should go to the dentist. Maybe that would be nice. So I started prioritizing union work, and obviously union work is a lot more prevalent at the bigger studios and a lot more stable there.
Right.
So yeah, I had an opportunity and I had done my compromise with myself was that I still did a lot of freelance for the bigger studios. Like I worked on the Captain Underpants movie for DreamWorks, and I just kind of did that on the side, like freelance. Like there was some 2D animation in that movie that I worked on.
Right.
So shit like that. So I had these like weird little relationships with the bigger studios, but it was always just they were always like my side gig, you know.
They were the side chicks in this scenario.
They were the side chick. Yeah. DreamWorks was my side chick. Yeah. But then, so I had a really great opportunity I had some friends, including Nilbog, who were moving on to the Animaniacs reboot. And
Okay.
I love that show. It had a
Yes.
really incredible crew. So it seemed like a really exciting opportunity. And I think I was just at that point, I was ready for a change of scenery. I was ready to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over to WB for that show, and I had a blast on that show. I worked on all 3 seasons. Really, I love how it turned out. I'm so proud of that show.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was as good or better than the original, honestly. Really well written. If you haven't watched the reboot, I think it's on Hulu still.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if they pulled it or not.
I believe it's still on Hulu if I remember correctly. I mean, it was it was technically
Yeah.
their property, even though Warner Bros. Was the one that made it. So
Yeah, when they signed they signed the deal for that show, I think that was before they had decided to do like the whole HBO Max thing. So
Right.
they sold the streaming rights to Hulu, which was weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Hulu was a good home for it, and it did pretty well. And we got 3 seasons, which these days for animation is a feat. To have anything beyond 1 or 2 seasons
Exactly.
is kind of impressive and non-existent. So 3 seasons was great, and yeah, big budget on that show, amazing team, huge team. It was very ambitious, so much work. I've never worked on a show that had more like characters or assets or designs or backgrounds and the music was all like orchestral scores. Like
Yeah.
they went back to the original. Like they had an actual orchestra performing not just the songs, but even like the underscore for each episode, like that very Looney Tunes-esque Carl Stalling, like pizzicato, like as the characters are walking, you hear them plucking the strings of the violin and stuff, so just so beautifully produced. That was great. So that was sort of my first project that I worked on at WB. And then I've been very lucky. I've just kind of stuck around WB for the last 5 years.
Right.
And I've just jumped from one show to another. Yeah, it's been fun.
Well, that's why I was bringing up, like, for example, Nilbog. Like you had mentioned, like, when you had joined on board with Nilbog and such. I imagine you two had like a very similar career, at least when it comes to like working together at WB, more or less. So I remember, like, obviously he was, for those that remember, the teaser for Nilbog's episode was him talking about like the person that would play the piano early in the morning when you get there or whatnot. That
Oh yeah, that was great. I love that story. Yeah,
it was a fantastic story, and I absolutely love that. I imagine you guys have probably still worked on like the same items or not same items, the same a lot of the same properties, a lot of the same shows up to this point. I imagine you're, correct me if I'm wrong, are you with him as well when it comes to working on that brand new Batfam animated series that's going to be coming out at some point in the near future?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. Like Nilbog and I, for the bulk of our careers, have not just worked at the same studio, not just worked on the same shows, but are literally like sitting across from each other every day for like the last 15 years. Like I feel that he cannot shake me. I just kind of follow him around. We've kind of become like a package deal at this point. Like, no, he is my best friend. I love Nilbog with all my heart. He is such a good dude. And that what a dream to like be able to work and make cartoons with your best friend.
Right.
But yeah, no, we have very similar senses of humor. We have very similar skill sets, very similar sensibilities. So we've just kind of ended up working on the same shows, which is great because we work really well together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're currently working on Batfam, which is a spin-off of Merry Little Batman, which is beautiful. So well made. It was like a Christmas special for Amazon Prime about like Damian Wayne. Like he kind of takes up the mantle of Batman goes missing and he needs to like step in and be Batman, and holiday hijinks ensue. But really great movie. So it kind of, they were like, hey, let's explore more of this world and what the other characters might be like, and so they're turning it into a series, and we're working on it right now, and it's really fun. I love it. I'm a big Batman nerd too, so
Oh, that's perfect.
being able to work on Batman anything is exciting. And also, just I feel like it's been a minute since we've had a kid-friendly Batman show. Like, what was the last kid-friendly Batman show? Like Brave and the Bold or something?
That was
like,
literally the one I was gonna say. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the last one.
And when was that? That's like That's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I want to say
more.
I want to say it was like I want to say like 2011, 2014, like that range or something like that.
Jesus, oh my God. Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, there hasn't really been like a truly kid friendly, and like, look, like I think even adult Batman fans are really going to enjoy this show.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of like deep cuts. Like it's there's enough in there, and the humor it's not too young. Like it's just such a charming, fun show. And I think there's enough in there that adult Batman fans are really going to enjoy it too. But it's something to introduce the characters to like a new generation as well, which is always important with these characters.
Absolutely. Plus, I'm gonna go ahead and say that there better be a dedicated episode of Damian versus the Condiment King. That needs to happen. That's the battle that we are all waiting to see happen in real life. All right.
I love how the Condiment King is just this like joke villain is now like everyone's favorite.
It's like the perfect go-to response of like what's the funniest villain in Batman's history, because let's be honest, like if you look throughout the entire like what was it 100 year history of Batman, there's been a lot of ridiculous characters that come out of it. All right, like there's not been one.
I love that though. I love that when they explore some of the like like D tier villains, but then make them interesting. Like because take their premise and their powers and just how weird they are and just kind of like run with it and have fun with it. Like I always love when they do that.
Like I know this is different studio and different comic book allegiance or whatnot, but like what the Spider-Verse did with the Spot, more or less, like that's a good example of that.
Yeah, and look how interesting that character turned out to be. Like I love that. Or even like in with James Gunn, and he's really great with that. I worked on Creature Commandos as well, right. And I mean, all of those characters are pretty like obscure, and I mean that's sort of been his MO, is like take obscure characters that no one gives a shit about, and then suddenly I care about Polka Dot Man. Like holy shit, suddenly Polka Dot Man is like more interesting than Superman. Like holy shit, like yeah, he's funnier and more interesting, and
all of a sudden Peacemaker is like the funniest superhero that everyone wants to see more of. Like, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's like, I know, right? Like take the worst characters that no one cared about, and I think he's smart in doing that too, because obviously people are going to be a lot less precious with like Peacemaker or Polka Dot Man, so there's more creative freedom for him to sort of like redefine those characters and who they are. Like at this point, so many of like the heroes and villains are so well defined that you can't, everything that could possibly be done with them has already been done. Right. And if you go too far off the path, then people freak out. So no, I love a good weird character. Like let's see some new stuff. So I worked on Creature Commandos at WB as well, and same thing. Like holy shit, I care about Weasel. Like right, like yeah, this character has such a rich backstory and has an emotional backstory. Or like, it's really amazing to see that.
Or like Phosphorus Man or Mr. Phosphorus, whatever his name was or whatnot. Like this character that's just a flaming skeleton of green, phosphorus or whatnot. Suddenly I care about him because he's got a very interesting backstory. Is also oddly one of the most OP superheroes you could ever see.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I think that was the best episode of the season. His like backstory episode was so interesting, and yeah, if you haven't watched that show, not to like promote, not to like stuff only that I've worked on, but like go watch it, because even as a fan, it's always cool when you work on something and actually enjoy watching it too. Like right. It was great. It was just great storytelling, really good character exploration. I thought it was great. And how cool, again, another win for animation, for like the whole new direction of the DC universe to start with an obscure animated series like
that people loved and appreciate and want to see more of. Like that's a major win more than anything else. I'll say, and speaking of weird and obscure characters, look, at this point, we can't, dance around it anymore. I have been talking to a weird and obscure character up to this point, a fantastic goblin talk show host. So I have to go down the path of at least what got to this point, more or less like the VTubing aspect. How did you even hear about VTubing in the first place, and what made you want to dive into that field?
It was not out of necessity, but like I felt like I discovered it late. Like VTubing it's kind of funny because there are like a zillion VTubers.
Yep.
But it's still a very niche thing. A lot of mainstream folks, when you say VTuber, they've never heard of it. They're like, what's a VTuber? They've never seen or heard of a VTuber.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, like I was saying earlier, like how important curiosity is, especially with the creative process and wanting to learn new things. At the time, this was in 23. I was rolling off a project at Warner Brothers, and it was right when the industry sort of hit that wall. Like Netflix was canceling a whole bunch of stuff. All of the streamers were kind of tightening their belts a little bit. There really wasn't a lot in production at Warner Brothers either at that time. And also the whole conversation around like AI was really starting to escalate.
Right.
So it was kind of a nerve-wracking time. I was kind of like reading the writing on the wall, and I was like, well, shit. I might not have work for a minute. So how, as an artist, do we keep our integrity, keep our jobs, but still adapt? Because, adapt or die, it's true. But at the same time, I'm not going to play ball with all the AI slop that's out there. I'm not going to sell my soul to AI. So the whole thing was like, what other tools are out there? What other tools? Because the mandate at these studios it's not going to go away. They want things that are more cost effective, that have a quicker turnaround. And the other thing too is like working at a big studio, working in the animation industry, like it's no secret that like YouTube and streamers and live content, it's kicking the ass of traditional content, right?
Right.
And a lot of that is, again, because these platforms are kind of inaccessible to animation traditionally. Like live streaming is traditionally something that animation could not do. Talk shows, podcasts, game shows, whatever. Something that animation could not touch. So I just was very curious. I was like, hey, let's look into some tools that could bridge that gap. And I discovered VTubing. I found Big Nose Bug, who's another animation professional. You should talk to her sometime. She is so incredible.
Trust me, she's one of those like guests I need to figure out a way to reach out to them more than anything else, because they are a dream person to have on, just with not only the cool stuff they've had a hand in like when it comes to VTubing, but the fact that they've also had like a really cool like animation career as well.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. She is so talented. So I discovered what she was doing with VTubing, and it blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right?
Like, holy shit! Like, you can do this. You can be a living, breathing cartoon character in like a live performance. So then it became a matter of like, okay, well, what tools do I want to use? Because there are a ton of VTubing tools, and most of them are just like a lot of them are kind of like very avatar style. So I wanted something that I could kind of like do more animation with. So like with Gob, like I have a whole set of here. I'm just gonna like run through them. I have all these little animation gestures.
Right.
I can look around. I can make little fists. I can slam my, knock my desk. This is my favorite one. I use this one way too much. I love my little like Homer finger wiggle.
Yep.
Like look, just all the gotta look good for my interview.
Of course.
But yeah, like all these little dumb triggers, and then there's also prop interaction, and this is just like a small cross section of all the things that Gob can do. Here's like I got my little blood bag. I can take a sip. Yeah. So I wanted to VTube, but I wanted to be as seamless as possible. So like with things like Live 2D, you can't really do these like seamless animation triggers.
Right.
So the thing for me was, like I can have prop interaction. I can pull out my phone, it's kind of endless, whatever. what Gob can do. I'm currently working on like Gob 2.0, a new model where I'll be
Ooh.
able to walk around an environment where it uses a mix again of like mocap triggers and auto lip sync, and Gob will be able to walk around the screen like a little video game character, and I'll be able to interact with objects and
Oh, that's
just even
cool.
more interactivity. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really exciting. I have some fun things planned. But yeah, so I ended up landing on Adobe Character Animator, which is like this bizarre software that I feel like is very underrated, and a lot of people just kind of look look over it. Like,
Oh
I don't know if you
yeah.
remember, like, how long ago was it? My God, it was maybe like 7 years ago. Everything ties back to The
Yeah,
Simpsons, but
I
The
was gonna say.
Simpsons did that Homer Live thing. Do you
Yeah,
remember
no,
that?
I was gonna say I even brought that up on Neil Boggs' interview. Like we had mentioned that because we had brought you up or whatnot. And he had mentioned the character anime. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure like the only time at least mainstream media heard about Adobe Character Animator or whatnot was that Homer Live episode at the end of an episode or whatnot. Like, yeah,
Yeah, so they did that, and like, look, kudos to them. Like The Simpsons, you say what you want about the quality of the show, but they still take some like creative risks. They
yeah,
do it's funny, like the couch gags and stuff. They get like guest artists. I feel like that's the most like creative thing the
oh
show's
yeah.
doing.
I,
I love that they're kind of experimenting with style and
I was gonna say I know in particular like it's always really cool to see like guest animators for like the couch gags or whatnot. I think one of the coolest moments
yeah.
is I don't know if you're aware of them. There's an artist by name of Spike Monster who did like their own like version of like the grown up Simpsons or at least like teenage year Simpsons or
Yeah,
whatnot. And
it
the
was like a
fact
web comic,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
a webcomic, and the fact that those characters got to be animated for a couch gag with like those same
I
character designs
know.
or whatnot is like still one of the coolest moments as someone that is frequently online like me. To see something like that get to that point is always really cool.
It is really cool to see. Yeah, it was like a fanfic web comic, and that the showrunners like respect the fans enough that it's like they let them, yeah, contribute to the show and acknowledge it. And I love that. And the people that work on the show are really talented and great too. And like,
Absolutely.
I hope it goes on forever. I hope The Simpsons outlives all of us. I hope it just never ends. But yeah, so they did this Homer Live thing, and again, like it was a big creative risk. And I'll be real, at the time, I think Character Animator was relatively new software at that time, and it was really buggy. Like it did not work
Yeah,
very well. It was not great.
it was very janky, especially at the time.
Yes, yes. So I think because of that, a lot of people like, yeah, they wrote it off, and they
Mhm.
just disregarded Character Animator as like a viable tool. So fast forward to 2023, I'm thinking like, well, what tools are there for live animation? And I already have the Adobe suite because I need it for work. So I was like, let
Right.
me see what's going on with Character Animator. I'm sure they've improved it since then. And sure enough, like it's great. It's is it perfect? No. Are you gonna animate like feature quality animation with this thing? No. But for live content, I think it's great. It's so fun. Like I have my stream deck set up next to me right now, and I'm literally, pushing buttons and puppeteering Gob.
Yep.
um, what you're seeing is like a mix of mocap for my head, and I don't know if you can see, it's pretty subtle, but I have some like physics
Oh yeah.
behaviors on his hair and ears and even nose a little bit, and you can like set the parameters to those. There's like an auto blink that is tracking with my real blink.
Hmm.
Lip sync is auto lip sync with my audio input, and then everything else is trigger based. So I animated all my little triggers
Right.
in Adobe Animate, and then I kind of plug them into my rig, and I set them up as like little buttons on my Stream Deck.
Yep.
Skull's gonna set the mood for us right now,
Oh,
and then I can
perfect.
just hit the buttons and call on these animations whenever I want them to happen. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm constantly adding. My rig is still new-ish. I've only been doing this for like 2 years,
Right.
so I'm constantly adding to it and experimenting and kind of pushing the boundaries with it. But yeah, so I just got into it as an experiment, and then the deeper I got into VTubing and the more VTubers I kind of met and talked to and discovered, I was like, well, this is like the coolest fucking medium.
Right.
It's more performance art than anything else. It's like it's animation, it's live performance, it's improv, it's like it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And there are VTubers like like Bug and who like she weaves like a narrative into her VTubing as well. Like it's not
Yeah.
just people gaming, even though this is all on Twitch and Twitch is traditionally like, video game streaming and stuff. Like people are now telling stories with VTubers. People are now like creating character lore and the interactivity of it is really cool as well. Like that's something I particularly love, and I think why like streaming content and obviously like social media content is so popular is because it's engaging. You're an active participant in what you're watching. You're not passively like absorbing this stuff. Like you can watch your favorite character and be a part of their community and talk to them and even influence the stream. So like what I love about VTubing and Twitch streaming is that I even have here. Let me see if I can pull some up right now. But I have little redeems
Oh wow!
that chat can pull up. So, yeah, okay. So like the sign is on fire. So on Twitch, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Twitch, like you get channel points for watching, and they're free. So as you watch a streamer, you get these little points, and you can redeem them for little event actions. So I try to make mine as like immersive as possible, and I just have like a whole bunch of weird shit that pops up. Does this one work? Yeah. Here we go. Gobutrin, everybody.
Gobutrin.
Ask your doctor about Gobutrin.
Side effects
I take 2 a day, and I feel great.
Side effects may include explosive diarrhea, potential death, and also lack of appetite.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's all these little channel redeems, and I have a ton more. I'm only showing you like a couple.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But you can influence what you're watching is the point. You can, I even have like little collectibles like gotcha blind box redeems and all kinds of what's another one I can pull up? How about a bad trip? If you take too much Gobutrin, if you take too much Gobutrin, yeah, you might start to see things.
Shout out to the artist that did that model, by the way. That. Oh
yeah. What's her name? I want to give her a shout out. Lady V Monstrosities. She's just like an artist who does sculptures, like these weird, really grotesque sculptures, and she just did that for me for fun, and it's fantastic. But
absolutely,
yeah. So again, like VTubing, it appealed to me because the immediacy of it. It allows animation to sort of break into live streaming and social media in a way that it wasn't able to. And then on top of that, there's just this level of interactivity. Like when we're working on a show at WB or even at an indie studio, there's this huge gap and disconnect between the artist and the audience. Like I'll work on a show for a year and then it'll get released the following year. And I never really get to connect with the audience, you know what I mean? Like as an artist, it's done and then you wait forever. I worked on a show for Disney Plus. We finished the show. It was this Three Caballeros show.
Oh yeah.
We worked on the show and then it wasn't released for like, they just had it sitting around for like 3 years before they released it. So it was like, ended up being 4 years before this thing that I worked my ass off on, like got to reach an audience. And even at that point, I'm not really getting to see or hear what people think or feel. So the cool thing with VTubing as well is just that, like, if you have an idea, you can be less precious with things. You can just like experiment and be weird. So on my stream, I it's kind of a love letter to the things I like. There's like, it's very inspired by like Pee-wee's Playhouse and like old school Howard Stern show, and especially more than anything, it's very inspired by Space Ghost Coast to Coast. There's a lot of that. So
I literally
it's a talk show format.
I literally had those things written down as potential influences because I could tell that the influence for at least like the Howard Stern show and the Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Those were the two that I had written down because I could tell there's a very strong influence of that with how you kind of portray yourself and how you like run the show, especially with like some of the incredible guests that you've been able to bring onto your live streams and just have some of the most unique conversations that I have seen on Twitch.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's like a talk show format, and my guests are just people with that I find interesting. So anybody with like a strange or unusual, quirky personality. Mm-hmm. So some examples of guests I've had on, like a cryptozoologist, a psychic, someone who identifies as a vampire. I've had on Gilly the Clown, who's like a local clown in Los Angeles. I've had on a 96-year-old man, a mall Santa, a tan mom. I've had all these. I had a life coach on recently.
Yep.
That was really hilarious. I found like a really not so great life coach on Craigslist, and I hired him to, kind of give me some life advice, and reshape my identity live on stream.
Right.
So yeah, like, and it's just fun. I have these really quirky, bizarre conversations with strange guests. And they all know they're on a live stream, but there's a little bit of not like I'm not pranking them, but there's some humor to the conversations, and I purposely make things, hope and pray that things will go off the rails, and I purposely find guests that I think where things will get weird.
Right.
We embrace that on This Is Goblin, but no, it's really fun, and I love people with just like quirky, strange personalities, people that are like larger than life characters, and just seeing them interact with like a cartoon goblin, I just that tickles me, that entertains me. So initially I was like, I don't care if people watch this or not. Like, I just want to do this because I think it's funny. I think it's fun.
Oh no, I think it's absolutely phenomenal more than anything else. Just the amount of guests and the fun interaction, like whether it be like with the people that you chat with or like with your chat itself or whatnot. Though I will say, out of that list of the people you just listed right there, for some reason Tan Mom is the one that always stands out to me more than anything else, because it was like this like, I'm not gonna say obscure, but it was just like this random person that became like a celebrity for like that became well known in the news. And
I love Tan Mom.
And the fact that you're able to find her after all these years later and bring her on, that's some
dude,
that's some like me shit. I'm not gonna lie, because I would do that kind of. I would like find some like random obscure like no joke. It reminds me in particular. Do you know the popular art meme of the airplanes in the night sky one, the one that has Mordecai and was it Twilight Princess from My Little Pony or whatnot? That poorly drawn meme.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
I found the artist that did that original art piece and brought them on the podcast. So yeah.
Dude, see, I love stuff like that. I love like deep dives into like weird internet culture,
exactly,
or memes. I love like exploring all that. So yeah, Tan Mom is like, she was like an internet meme like maybe like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. She was in the news because she was banned from like tanning salons in the tri-state area, and she was accused of bringing her like 9-year-old daughter to like a tanning salon, and she's like ridiculously tanned. Like,
absolutely.
Like, it's not a tan. She is burnt to a fucking crisp.
Yeah. She looks like you left the marshmallow just a little bit too long in the flames.
And she has a wild life story. Like, she is one of the most interesting people I have ever met in my entire life. So I reached out to her just because I think she's funny. And I was like, and we ended up talking on stream live for like 3 hours. And she was like hitting on Gob. She was getting like way too sexual with Gob. Like, it was hilarious. We were trying to teach her how to, because she has a really distinct voice, and chat. This is the fun of streaming, like the interactivity with chat. Chat was saying like, oh, we love her voice. She should do ASMR. And she was like, well, what's ASMR? She has no idea what ASMR is. So we were all trying to teach her how to ASMR, and that she should start like an ASMR channel. So we were giving her like ASMR prompts and getting her to do it. And of course, everything turned sexual. Like, it was hilarious. It was so funny. But it's hilarious because she blows my phone up. She texts me and leaves me voicemails weekly. It's hilarious. Like, we're best friends. Me, Gob and Tan Mom are the it couple. Let me tell you.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear more than
She'll,
anything else.
she'll be returning. She just released a book, an autobiographical book called The Color Tan, which is just the most incredible title I've ever heard. And let me tell you, this book is absolute batshit. It is the funniest. It's her life story. I don't think a single word in it is true, but it is such an entertaining read. And I think she's on a book tour right now for it, so she's gonna come on stream again to talk about the book. But she is just like a fascinating human being to me. Like, I love her. She is so funny.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, like it's just.
I'm not gonna lie. If I could even get like an opportunity just to ask like one question to Tam Mom, I would, because that's just like, again, like I said before, that is some me shit to bring like some obscure like, you know, internet meme from like such and such years ago, just to see how they're doing nowadays. Because it's not like once the meme died or whatnot, they just went off into the ether and just like disappeared from existence. Like, they still live their life. So.
And that's, see, no, I totally agree with you. And that's such like a weird, a lot of people don't think about like the story behind these memes or the people who created these things. And more often than not, there's like actually like a really interesting story behind these things. Yeah. And I love how your mind works. Like, that's the kind of shit, those are the kind of like YouTube vortexes, rabbit holes I go down. It's like, I want to know the story behind this like 10-year-old meme. I want to know like where it originated and who's the crazy person that like invented it or drew it or whatever. No, that stuff is endlessly interesting. Actually, one of my guests I had, I don't know if you know him, but I had Longmont Potion Castle on stream.
The name sounds familiar, but like I'm not really too aware of them.
He's a very like obscure internet prank phone caller guy. He releases an album of really, they're very abstract. He releases like an album of really obscure, abstract, bizarre prank phone calls once every year since the 80s. He used to release them on like cassette,
right? And
then he used to release them on CD, and now obviously he releases them through digital download. Yep. Longmont Potion Castle, yeah, and they're hilarious. If you like absurdist, abstract humor, somehow he gets the phone number of like, there was like a running gag on every album for like a decade before his unfortunate passing, but he would call Alex Trebek.
Oh, like, wow.
For a decade and just fuck with Alex Trebek. And Alex Trebek was always so composed and polite and never like changed his phone number ever. Like, I was like, dude, like, change your number. But it was like a saga. Like, he would create these little like running gags or stories or like that would connect all the calls over the course of like a decade. Just really funny guy, and he's just like this obscure internet guy. No one knows who he is. He's like dude from Colorado. He's like a professional musician, and he just does this as like a hobby. But I love his work. So he actually came on stream, and that was amazing. He had like a cameo in that. It was around the time that Home Safety Hotline game, that analog horror game, was really popular.
Oh, okay.
So he had like he has a very cult following online. So he had like a cameo in that game. Yeah. So I had him on to kind of like talk about that, and just, he started the call by like pranking, like he had a character and he was doing a whole thing. And I love shit like that though. Yeah. He's just like a very obscure internet person, you know, and I love talking to those types of people.
Yeah. I'm the same kind of mentality when it comes to, especially with like music or whatnot. Like, we all know the one hit wonder like artist or whatnot in one form or fashion, you know, the one that has like the one really good song or the one really obscure song, and then all of a sudden like you hear nothing from them afterwards.
Yeah,
I had that mentality when I brought on an artist by name of Asher Roth. I don't know if that name sounds familiar to you, but
no, it doesn't sound familiar. No,
but if you've heard the song "I Love College," that's the guy. That's the artist behind that song.
I don't know that song. I have to look it up. You have to send me a link.
It was a very like niche, you know, rap song about basically just, you know, hey, you know, I love partying at college. That's what it really was. But
nice.
But it's like afterward, it's like, you know, again, after that, like, he didn't really have like any hits, and he kind of did like his own little thing. So I just decided, I remember seeing randomly that, like, I think it was like on Twitter or something like that, that like he was like releasing an EP with like someone that he was working with like indie wise or whatnot. So I decided to just like reach out and be like, hey, I love your stuff.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'd love your stuff. I'd love to have an opportunity to chat with you. And it got me an opportunity to talk to the guy on the podcast, which is really cool.
I love that.
And I would love to do that with like, I've always wanted to do like a dedicated month of just like one hit wonders. Like see if I can get just like a bunch of them, like one episode after another, just to talk about like what it was like to go through like having that hit at the time, but then like afterwards, like, because obviously a lot of these artists, and I imagine again, like we were talking about with like the obscure memes or whatnot, like it's not like they made that singular song or they had that singular moment.
Yeah, they're still making art. They're still out there making art.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I want to hear like, what's been like for them both, like experiencing that moment, but also like what they've been doing since then, and like how interesting, like I think you and I get the mentality that I'm going with.
No, I love it. And, like, yeah, it's a mixture of, I love a lolcow, and I love people who are very unapologetically themselves.
Exactly.
I love people like, so another guest I had on, he's another kind of like internet meme person, very obscure. He's more of like an LA legend. His name is Sour Joe, and he's a 96-year-old man, and I found his phone number in just like, well, actually maybe I shouldn't say how I found it. I don't want people bugging him, but anyways, I found him. I looked him up and I found him relatively easily, surprisingly easily,
right?
And I just called him up and I just said, like, he didn't understand what VTubing was. He didn't understand what live streaming was. So I basically said, like, I want to interview you on the radio. We're going to be on live radio. I want to interview you. And the premise was, he was my like New Year's Day guest.
Oh.
And the premise was, I wanted life advice from someone with maximum life experience, like someone who's someone who's seen some shit. You know what I mean? So we were getting, and of course the hope was that, he's a 96-year-old man. His advice is maybe going to not be the most relevant or kind of PC, or it's going to be a little outdated. But he was hilarious. He was really funny. I have clips of all my guests on all my socials too, if you want to check them out. But
trust me,
Sour Joe was one of my favorites.
I did a lot of
hilarious.
I did a lot of research looking through some of those clips and seeing just kind of like the conversations and the fun chats that you've had with so many incredible people. It does leave me also it does leave me at least a little bit curious when it comes to at least like the talk show segment. There's got to be like a dream guest for you. Like there's got to be one guest in particular. Like if I can find a way to contact this person, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Oh, there's lots. I mean, honestly, Longmont Potion Castle was one of my dream guests. So the fact that I was able to get him on was insane. I'm such a huge fan of that guy. Like I really loved I loved like the Stern Show Whack Pack and just the weird characters that he'd have on the show and all the behind the scenes, like back office drama, soap opera kind of drama between personalities. I love that. I just loved. I'm a millennial. I'm like a '90s kid, so like I grew up with like public access TV and like the Tom Green Show, and all these like this weird sort of like outsider art. It was like proto streaming. It was like, back in the day, kids. Like you watched what was on TV, and everything was so produced and controlled. So public access TV was like this window into like the obscure and a window into like, we're spoiled now because you go on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and you can find anyone, you can find the craziest perspective you want. But it was harder to come across that kind of stuff when I was a kid. And so finding shows like that, it was like insane. It was like you're seeing something you're not supposed to see. It was very like the punk rock in a weird way. It was very like anti-culture, like like Tom Green and stuff was just very like the obnoxiousness of it was intentional, and it was very like anti-establishment, anti-culture.
It was like pirate radio of television.
Yeah, exactly. And I loved like Coast to Coast AM as like when I was younger and in college and stuff, and like that's just like a radio show where they would have like discussions about paranormal activity, and they would have like just some guy on who claimed to be abducted by aliens, and his story would be complete bullshit, but they would interview him for like hours and just let him spin his web of lies and bullshit stories, and it was endlessly entertaining.
I think they're still doing that, if I remember correctly. I think my ex a while ago actually just like, because she used to work overnight shift, and just like randomly just like got to work, like at work, was going to lunchtime, turned on the radio, and that kind of stuff that you're talking about was like what was happening. So I think they're still doing that.
Yeah, I love that. And even, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, like that was, Space Ghost is like the granddaddy of Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Before Space Ghost, like in Aqua Teen, there wasn't really, animation was either the Simpsons family sitcom kind of stuff. That was the only option you had for adult animation was, like the family sitcom format. So once Adult Swim kind of came on the scene, that kind of like blew the doors wide open of like, hey, like animation can be this weird sort of like avant-garde, obscure, abstract comedy too. So I'm trying to channel all of those things. I'm trying to put my own spin on it, obviously, but yeah, very inspired by all that stuff. And I feel like Twitch, that's why I love Twitch and I love streamers and I love YouTube, because it's on a much bigger scale, but there's still, you get that same feeling when you discover a content creator that's unique and really speaks to you, and is so niche that you feel like you found something
Exactly.
so rare and precious. There's a high to that. It's so satisfying, and it's like, wow, content made for me. So I'm not comparing myself to that level of content creator, but if I can capture even like a little sliver of that feeling, that's my goal. Is just I'm trying to do something that's a little different than what you typically see with VTubers. I'm trying to, bring something unique to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I still do some like art streams. I'm like a variety channel, so sometimes I'll play a game if it's like a weird. I usually won't play like the trendy games, but I'll play like something that resonates with me, or I can come up with a little bit for, like, I just did a Mario Paint stream recently that was really fun.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'll do like art streams and drawing streams, and I'll do some collabs with friends. But the main focal point of my channel is the interviews, and I have some fun upcoming guests too. I have a hypnotist coming on stream. They're going to hypnotize me live on stream. Going to help me kick some bad habits, porn addiction, fast food addiction. They're going to rewire my brain live on stream. Yeah, I have a strip club manager coming on. Going to be interviewing him.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
He's a Canadian strip club manager, and he's like a character like straight out of Trailer Park Boys. Like, I love this guy. He's very folksy. He's got some funny opinions. He's just like a really funny character. So he's coming on. And then I also have a urologist. I'm going to interview a urologist. He supposedly gives the best circumcisions in North America. That's his claim to fame. So I'm going to find out what exactly that entails. What does that mean to give a good circumcision? But yeah, that's like the kind of, just weird, anything goes. If someone, if I find them interesting, they're welcome to come on, and we're gonna have fun.
Well, I'll let you know right now. First, like half of those guests, I know you only listed 3, but like, okay, 2/3 of those guests, more or less, like none that gets the hypnotist, but those other 2, I really want to see how those conversations go down more than anything else. Like, no offense to the hypnotist, but like the Canadian strip club owner, that alone, like, I need to make sure I mark that date down whenever you do announce that one coming on. Like,
I'm excited.
Yes,
I'm excited, and I always, whenever I have a guest on too, like, part of what I try to do is like I try to create new animation and art assets, overlay assets for each guest to try and make it like a unique experience. And I try to add like a little narrative too. So like, I'll give you an example. Like, I had a psychic medium on for a stream, and I had a cursed gem. Right. I had a cursed gemstone that Nilbog had actually 3D printed. This is how we introduced his VTuber.
Yeah.
The lore was that his character was trapped within this cursed gem, and I had found this gem and was trying to figure out what it was, how to release the energy within it. So I hired a real psychic medium to do a real psychic reading of a fake 3D gem, which she thought was real. She was convinced it was a real ancient artifact which just made the whole thing much more fun because she gave a very authentic reading of a very fake gem, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, it got weird. It was really fun. But yeah, so I always try to like weave in some weird things. So with the hypnotherapist, like we're going to get to go, like here's a teaser. We're going to get to go inside my mind. You're going to get to see the darkest recesses of Gob's inner psyche.
Oh, that's really a dangerous place to be.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And we're going there though. I'm letting you all into my subconscious for that stream. And yeah, I like to create like, you know, new art, new animation, new like elements of my rig that will complement the interview and the story I'm trying to tell with each guest. So
well, there you go. And I will say, if you need an upcoming guest at some point that's a an obscure forklift operator in Georgia that also moonlights as a podcast host, I think I can get you in contact with them. I think we can get something, set up, rearranged if that's something you're interested in.
You need to help me finally get my forklift certification these years later. We need to.
Yeah, we could. I could bullshit my way to help you with
forklift hour. Let's just talk about forklifts.
I'll tell you,
I love that though.
I'll tell you what. I know if you want to talk about like doing like obscure game stuff or whatnot, I know there's at least one forklift simulator. So it's like if you wanted to play that game on stream and then have me as like the forklift professional, be like, okay, this is how you need to do it. You need to do it. All right, settle down. So like,
you could be like my driving instructor. We'll do like forklift simulator, like driving school.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah, I'll study. We'll do it. Oh my God, yeah, and you can give me my certification live on stream. See, I love that. That's the kind of shit I want to do. That's
exactly
that's the kind of dumb shit I'm entertained by. So I'm always like, every stream, I'm like, people are gonna fucking hate this. This is so. No one's gonna be interested in this dumb premise but me. Like when I had Longmont on, I was like, this is only for me. Like barely anyone knows this guy. He is so niche. But it ended up being really, really fun.
Oh yeah,
it's funny too because like he does this thing where he uses like a lot of weird. He's a musician, so he uses a lot of weird sound effects and like vocal modulation tools, like for all of his calls and his interview. So he's so obnoxious in the most endearing way. So like people who didn't know who he is, they were like, the audio quality sucks. Like I hear an echo and there's all these weird, like, what's that music in the background? And there's all this weird, like clicking sounds. And it's like, no. That's supposed to happen. That's just how he sounds.
It's like, you don't understand. That's part of the charm with this guy.
That's the art. Yeah. That's art, guys. That's the artistry. That shitty audio quality. That's intentional.
And I was gonna say that's what's really interesting about what you do and how you present yourself, because you could honestly just do that just as you are. Like you didn't need to go all in with like the VTubing stuff to do that. But I think like the VTubing aspect gives a nice like fun little layer to it more than anything else, especially with how you're able to project yourself. I mean, for goodness sakes, the way you do project yourself with this. Again, the fun goblin character in like this mysterious cave with like a microphone munching on cockroaches whenever they get coughed out of a skull or whatnot. Like it adds a nice little fun layer to what's already a really fun premise at the end of the day.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact
we're all about quality here. We're all about high production value and oh shit.
I'll say, I really need to put that fire extinguisher in a much more like reachable place more than anything else.
It's fine. Okay, Skull did all the wiring down here, and he's a little limited.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious on how that was even possible in the. It's best I not ask questions I don't need the answer to.
No, don't question it. Don't question anything.
I think what's also really cool is like when taking a step back when it comes to like the VTubing aspect, the fact that you're able to do this for yourself, it's also led to some really cool opportunities that you're able to do when it comes to like putting that back into your job as well. Because if I remember correctly, I remember seeing you use that for a couple of models when it comes to Looney Tunes characters such as Lola Bunny and Bugs Bunny as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing your research. That means a lot. But like, so around the time that I discovered VTubing, again, like it was just out of curiosity. It was like, again, this whole thing with like AI, and it's like, we can reject it, but still, as artists, to a certain degree, we need to. If we don't want to use that technology, we better find an alternative, and we better find other ways to adapt and stay competitive with the changing landscape, right? So I really do feel like VTubing is a medium that's relatively untapped. I think there's a ton of potential to do even more than what we're currently doing with it.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like some of the most innovative shit I'm seeing in the indie scene is happening with VTubers. Like
Oh yeah.
there are VTubers like Shindigs, like Rat Cousin, like Nilbog, like Big Nose Bug.
Pumpkin Potion.
There, I could go on and on and on.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all like professional coders or animators or whatever, and they're pushing the boundaries of this medium constantly, and you're really getting to see something that didn't exist 5 years ago, didn't even exist 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So traditionally VTubers kind of cater to like idol culture and were typically like, you know, big titty anime girls, which there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But I feel like VTubing is now starting to sort of break open into other styles and genres. And Bug does like a cooking segment as her VTuber, which is wild. Nilbog again is doing everything within Unreal Engine. There's another VTuber by the name of Dead Sun Prime who is like a space squid, and he's also an Unreal Engine, and he's basically built all these like these real-time environments that his character can just like explore live on stream, and they're highly interactive. Chat can, you know, it can influence everything that's happening in his environment. It's wild. It's so interesting. So yeah, like again, the animation industry is kind of, it's getting a little better now and it's rebounding, but it was in this weird lull. So I just kind of I took a big swing and I brought Gob to work. It was Bring Gob to Work Day, and I just kind of showed them and was like, hey, I'm experimenting with this medium. It's really fun. I think there's a lot of potential here, and I know you guys are like struggling to figure out how to like break into like, you know, live streaming and social media and all that kind of stuff. So here's how you do it. Like let's try it. So very cool that a big corporation like Warner Brothers would be open to, you know, experimental animation techniques, but they let me do like a Bugs Bunny live live stream thing on TikTok on April Fools, and Eric Bauza, who's the current voice of like Bugs Bunny and like all the Looney Tunes, he's a friend of mine, just insanely talented guy, and he's like a perfect candidate for that kind of stuff because he's really funny. He's really good at riffing and improv. So we did this like little variety talk show experiment thing where it was just like Bugs Bunny just doing little bits, like, you know, like, and you know, it has to run through the corporate filter, and they did some funny stuff though. Like they did like, it was like a late night was giving a financial report of the stock market at that time. It's when it kind of like tanked for like a couple weeks. So, you know, Wile E. Coyote was like the stock market correspondent, and every time they check in on him, he's just falling off a cliff, you know, like, you know, typical, you know, it was safe humor and stuff like that. But still, the fact that they were willing to experiment with, you know, one of their most valuable legacy IP sort of characters, and experiment with like a weird technique, and I thought it was really successful. It did really well online on TikTok. A lot of fun segments. They did like a little like interview segment, a little like video game play with me kind of play along, like some WB games with Bugs and Daffy, and a lot of really kind of gaggy kind of stuff. But again, it was really cool because it was all done with Character Animator, all the stuff of Bugs behind his desk, and was able to get like a really good performance out of it. And with Bowser's VO, it was magical to see that happen in real time, you know?
Correct me if I'm wrong, you and Bowser, you guys actually go way back. Because he was part of Dick Figures, if I remember correctly, so...
Bowser started off as an animator. He worked at 6 Point Harness with us. Actually, he sat next to me on Good Vibes on that show I was telling you about. And that was around the time when he was really pursuing voice acting. So I still remember he would like, we'd be working on an episode and he'd duck out like halfway through the day because he's like, oh, I got an audition today. I'm gonna go audition for, you know, XYZ. And he was still like breaking into the you know, the whole voice acting thing. And now he's the three-time three-time Emmy Award winner, Eric Bauza. He's like the guy. So it's so he's like the nicest guy. Another Canadian, not to
Of course.
to our horn here, but another sweetheart Canadian. But yeah, he's the nicest guy and just insanely talented.
He's another
but yeah,
he's another dream guest for this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. Just to get
he would. I'm sure he would. He's like so amazing. Like he does interviews for everyone all the time, and he is just so fun to listen to. Like
oh yeah, absolutely.
He's such a charming guy. He's really funny. He's really quick-witted. Yeah, you should totally reach out to him. He's the nicest guy.
If I can find a way to reach out to him, I'll be more than happy to. Trust me, that is the easy part is asking. The hard part is finding out how to ask.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I hear you. No, I know. I struggle with that too.
No, I get that. But regardless, like the fact that this little thing that started off as a oh fuck, everything could fall like right under my feet if I'm not careful, like what started off as like a kind of a panic move in a way turned out to be something that you've been able to not only have good success with on your own accords, but put that back into your workplace as well and find a good bit of like success. Like it's gotta be really surreal for you to think that like with all the years of work you've had in animation and such, and especially now with VTubing, like it's gotta be surreal to think how far you've been able to come along as an artist.
It's again like it is. I could have just continued to do what I was doing at work, and I'm sure that would have been fine. But again, it's the whole like curiosity thing. Like a lot of us get into art, and there's lots of projects I worked on that are just a 9 to 5. It's a job to pay the bills. But I think that's why personal projects and indie are so important. Like. Mm-hmm. The most creative fulfillment I get is from doing dumb shit like this, from being a goblin on Twitch. Like, I think personal projects are so important just for your own sanity and for your own creative expression and growth. But I feel like it will make you, when you're working on passion projects, it will just inevitably make you a better artist in general. And that's going to bleed into your 9 to 5. Like you're going to learn new skills. You're going to just become a better artist.
Yep.
There was a long period of time where, I was just like a 9 to 5 guy. I would go, put my 8 hours in at the animation mines and then come home and not do anything creative for myself. And honestly, that was kind of like a difficult time for me. It was kind of a dark time. I felt really uninspired. I felt like something was missing. And always I'm happiest when I'm working on dumb personal projects. And I think as an artist, we really need those for our mental health and just to, but yeah, like, that's the thing. It's like, I think no matter what you're working on, it's really important to have these silly little projects on the side.
Absolutely. Plus, it's also got to be kind of reaffirming as well to know that, like, you're working on these fun, dumb little projects for yourself, and then all of a sudden there's a community that comes along with that also loves this dumb, creative stuff that you're doing for yourself.
It's amazing, yeah. I mean that's such a rewarding thing too that I wasn't expecting. Is that you just online in general, like the community of artists online, whether you're like an indie animator or you're a podcaster or a streamer or a VTuber or whatever, like. When you find those communities and you click with other creative people that are doing similar things to you, and you're sharing goals, and you're constantly, I'm brainstorming with Nilbog all the time. We're constantly like thinking of like, well, why don't we try and do this? What if we do this? Why don't we do this? Like, we keep each other motivated, and it's really rewarding. I love it. And again, like I'll talk anyone's ear off. You can tell I'm a yapper, but like I'll talk anyone's ear off about VTubing because it's exciting. It's so exciting to see what people are doing. There are so many innovative artists within that sphere that are just pushing boundaries like crazy. And the technology is only getting better. Like it really does feel like the ground floor of like a completely new medium.
Yeah, like the people that we have mentioned throughout this podcast, whether it was early on or whenever we were talking about you finding your people and like the people that are using certain aspects, that's only just scratching the surface. That's just like that's not even like 1% of the people that are out there and the creativity that's going on in the VTubing space. That's why I always love bringing VTubers on the podcast to talk about this kind of stuff, the stuff that they put into it, the dumb creative stuff that they invest in themselves to put out the incredible stuff like, again, the goblin I've been talking to for the past, I don't know, 2 hours at this point, however long we've been yapping. It does lead it does lead me to
I'm not real. I'm a figment of your imagination. I don't really exist. You're just hallucinating right now.
I'll say that who have been talking to for the past 2 hours?
Your inner goblin.
You know what? I do need to unleash that at some point. Especially with this being whenever this episode drops. It is getting close. It is October time when this episode drops. In fact, it's close to 2 years for you since you actually debuted, because you debuted Halloween 2023. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Halloween night was when I did my first stream, and coming up on my 2-year streamiversary. Yeah, it's real exciting. But yeah, it's been fun, and I still feel like I'm such a baby, and I'm still just scratching the surface of what this can be.
Well, that does lead actually to the next question I have. Like I said, like you just said, like you're only just scratching the surface at this point. What would you at least like to hope to do the more you go down like this VTubing path?
Just keep building on the idea and on its capabilities. So like I mentioned, I'm building like a gob, like a 2.0 rig where he'll be able to walk around the screen. I'll be able to interact with a larger environment. It'll basically be like a little 2D sprite almost that is me live. And it'll still work with all my triggers. It'll still work with the mocap and the auto lip sync, but now I'll just sort of be able to walk around the screen and go to different places and do different things as Gob. So yeah, just pushing the boundaries of the technology, expanding on its capabilities, expanding on, I love, again, the interactivity of streaming and VTubing, and just trying to come up with new ways to let chat like influence what they're watching and be a part of the story. And like you said, like you want to come on and ask questions to Tan Mom and stuff. Like that's the beauty of it. Like when I have a guest on, like like it was great when Tan Mom was on. Like chat was asking her questions and instigating her, and she was getting all pissy with chat, and like they were giving her like ASMR prompts, and she's very argumentative. Like she takes everything as an insult. So her and chat were just like at each other the whole time. It was really great.
Oh goodness.
But yeah, just more of this. I just want to keep doing that. I just want to keep being a gob and see where it goes.
All we want is just more gob. We need more gob. We need more gob.
More gob.
Which also does lead me to ask, because I forgot to ask this a little bit sooner. Why gob? Like, why was goblin the way to go when it came to how you wanted to present yourself?
So gob was just like a design that I had that I really liked. Okay. The little character design that I liked, that I had just put a pin in, and I was just like, I kind of like how this little guy looks. I don't really know what to do with him, but the right project will present itself one day. And
this was the right project for it.
Yeah, this was the right project for it. Yeah. So he was just like, I think when I drew him first, I had just watched Mandy, the horror movie Mandy, and you know how the Cheddar Goblin is in Mandy. Yes. So I was just drawing, like, I thought that character was hilarious, the Cheddar Goblin in Mandy. So I just started drawing like this little goblin after seeing that, and that's the design did not change. It's pretty much this right now. And again, like I work in animation, and a lot of designing in animation whittles down to efficiency and saying a lot with a little. And when you have to animate a design, you don't want a character that has like a shit ton of line mileage. Right. You want something that you can animate quickly with without too much difficulty. It depends on the show. Like on a show like Creature Commandos, those characters it would take me like a half hour just to clean up one frame of animation because there's shadows and tones and a lot of detail on those characters. But for
Yep.
traditional like TV animation, you want your characters to be pretty design efficient.
Yep.
So yeah, that also helps because I'm able to create little like assets and new animations for Gob like pretty quickly. He's pretty simple, but I'm a minimalist artistically. Like I really love saying a lot with a little, and I like clean, bold design,
Oh, yeah.
which I tried to present with all of this.
If nothing else, like I can see how Goblin, based on some of the other assets that you've been able to show throughout this episode or whatnot, it's not only like a good base model, but the things that you've been able to add on to it to build on top of it or whatnot just gives a fun, interactive creature for whoever tunes in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I just again, it's this whole thing. I just wanted to be representative of all the things that I love.
I could tell.
Yeah, so it's just a love letter. Yeah, yeah. All the things I love are right here in front of me. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's again, this has just been such like a fun, creative sandbox for me to just play in. That was basically
Absolutely.
the goal.
Well, for this next question, if I may, what if I expanded the sandbox, if I may? Because Goblin, I want to give you more or less the dream scenario. Let's say I am big shot Mr. Moneybags. I come to you and I'm like, look, Goblin, we have seen.
Lay it on me.
We have seen what you've been able to produce. We have seen kind of the creativity and how intuitive you seem to be with this technology. We know there's a lot more you could potentially do. You just need a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible. We probably should be giving a lot of that back to animators, make sure that they can have like a living wage, health insurance, a place to sleep, all that kind of stuff like that. We'll get to them in a little bit. We promise. Hashtag Sam with animation forever and always. But right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream This Is Goblin project?
Expanded scope of style and mediums. Like I really love, like, again, going back to things that I grew up with and shows that I like. I really loved in like Pee-wee's Playhouse how it was like a mix of like live action, animation, puppets, stop motion. I would love to incorporate more of that. So I have on a smaller scale on my stream, I've had some like live action cutaway bits.
Right.
There's actually a Gob puppet that's being built by an incredible puppet fabricator. They go by the name of Freaky Farm on Instagram. You should check out their work if you're listening. They have a knack for creating like Jim Henson level quality puppets, but of like really weird 2D designed characters. They're just really good at translating 2D characters into puppet form. So I have a goblin puppet that's being made. I really want to do some like live action, like Gob on the Street kind of segments.
Gob on the Street, yes.
I would love to have like more space to do like again with the guests. Like the guests, when I have them on, they're usually just on via like phone, and I just have like a little lower third. Mm-hmm. I usually have like a little.
Yep.
Can you see that?
Yeah, yes.
There's Tan Mom.
I would say how ironic, given how much we talked about her.
There she is. If you hadn't heard of Tan Mom before, now you can get the visual. So I usually just have like a little like reactive for my guest with a little avatar, so you know who I'm talking to. That just kind of bounces around with their voice, but it's usually just audio. It's very like call-in show kind of format. But my dream is to actually have like, in true form to Space Ghost, I would love to have like a guest actually on via like green screen. So I would love to see like Tan Mom at the desk with me, with Gob,
right?
Or any guest for that matter. I think that would be like a really fun element to actually have, blending live action with animation live in real time, and already kind of doing that with like Nilbog. Like Nilbog and I have done a couple streams together where he's behind the desk with me and we're on screen at the same time, and there's just like something really fun about seeing like a CG character and a 2D character like interacting with each other in real time. Like it's there's something fun about it.
It's
So
always fun to see
yeah,
that kind of like dichotomy between two different art styles blending together so well.
exactly. So I would love that. I wish I had more time and resources and money and skill to bring it all together. Like I'm working on it on a smaller level. Like I have puppets on the way, and I have other things happening. But yeah, it would be really fun to be able to just incorporate this weird collage of mediums. I always love how that looks.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, I love like Gumball is such a beautifully made show, and it
Yes.
does such a good job of blending different animation styles. But yeah, even like Space Ghost, like it was always just so fun and entertaining to see like him interacting with like a live guest on the TV screen. So yeah, that's it. It's just if I had more time, money, and resources, I would love to have like every medium you can imagine incorporated into this thing that I'm doing.
Absolutely. Also, little side tangent. I meant to bring this up a little sooner, but I actually interviewed someone on this podcast that worked on those animated segments for Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What's their name?
Joe Horn. They're an animator.
Oh,
They're an
wow.
animator that's been working since like the 1980s. Did storyboards for like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the original like
Oh, damn.
Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday morning cartoons. They were a director on the Boondocks. They directed the entirety of the run of a show called Class of 3000, which was my favorite show growing up.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I that art style more than anything else was what always sold me on it. But yeah, like he talked
Yeah,
about
that's cool.
he talked about how that was like one of his favorite like jobs to do, like working on Pee Wee's Playhouse to bring those like animated segments to life. So
Yeah, because it did feel so experimental. Did you watch the Pee Wee documentary
I've
on
been meaning
Max?
to. I've been really wanting
Oh,
to.
dude,
Like,
it's so good. I cried. I cry. It's
oh
so
yeah,
good and it's so inspiring. It's just it's so cool to see like just that group of artists get together with such a perfect storm. And you should check out too. There's like this weird indie zine that I stumbled across on Instagram. I think they're called Dummy Zine,
okay,
and they're kind of like an indie art magazine, really well made
okay,
zine. And the first issue was all like the art of Pee Wee's Playhouse. And I don't know how they got it, but they had interviews with a bunch of artists that worked on the show.
okay.
And then they somehow got all this like concept art and behind the scenes production art from the show. And they published it in this zine. And it's like, it's basically more or less like an art of Pee Wee's Playhouse book. It's so well made, and if you're a fan of that show and the artist behind it, like I recommend buying a copy of that because it's just like a little indie zine thing, but it's
Right.
so well made, and I've a lot of the art in it I had never seen before. It's so inspiring to see
I
that shit.
I bet. Like Jesus, that sounds
That's
incredible.
that's so cool that you got to speak to them though. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Look, it's one of those like again, like I said before, like asking a person, like interviewing a person is one thing, but like finding the person is always the hard part. With him, I had to go on the LinkedIn and then I found their Facebook and was able to contact them through there. So, hey, if it worked, I can't complain.
no, that's great. And I mean, like I love that you're shining a light on. I don't think any of us would be doing what we're doing today without, it sounds kind of cliche to say that, but those people truly were pioneers. I
Yeah.
mean, the 80s was kind of like the dark ages of animation and content in general. Everything was everything was branded, even worse than it is kind of like these days
Oh
in
yeah.
the mainstream. Like everything was a toy commercial, everything was to sell a product. There was very little, and I mean that's why I guess the 90s was in response to that, and why we got like Nicktoons and such a weird
Oh yeah.
swing in the opposite direction. But yeah, the people that worked on Pee Wee's Playhouse, I mean, they were like they were really taking a stand and really pushing the envelope of like creativity and what what you could see in like mainstream media.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned that because that reminds me of another guest also pro on this podcast. The guy's name is Charles Zimbillis, who started off like working in the '80s with like a lot of that branded stuff. He would go on to be a character designer for Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Daxter.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, like that dichotomy more than anything else. Like I trust me, listen to him and how he went off on like how animation was in the '80s or whatnot. Yeah, I get that sentiment more than anything else. But sadly, we do gotta get down from that dream scenario. We have to get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
Still curious. That's all I want. I want to still be motivated and curious to experiment. Again, that's always my goal as an artist. And again, the sort of like darkest times in my journey through my career and life in general are just the times that I felt stagnant, the times where I felt my purpose wasn't clear, or that I felt uninspired or stuck. So I hope I'm in a period right now where I'm feeling very inspired. I'm feeling very motivated with my personal work and my professional work. And, it's a good feeling. I hope to continue to just hold on to that and continue to explore animation and creativity.
I think that is a very good thing to aspire for more than anything, especially in today's day and age where that curiosity and that creativity still needs to be shown brighter than ever.
Exactly, especially with all the AI slop out there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
keep creating, everyone. Don't get discouraged by that stuff. Like, again, I'm kind of an optimist with that stuff. I think as long as we are creating stuff, people will pay attention to it. I think people want to have that human connection to their content and their artwork. They want the perspective behind it more than anything. Especially with like streamers, with what you're doing, like people are tuning in because they like your taste, they like your perspective. That's really what they're here for.
Exactly.
And for the time being, AI does not have taste or perspective. It's just a blender of everything. So yeah, no, just keep creating, everybody. Like, don't get discouraged.
I think that mentality leads very easily into the last question I have for the podcast. Obviously, you are deeply entrenched in art in one form or fashion. I mean, we've seen the different ways you've been able to immerse yourself, whether it be always wanting to be an animator ever since you were a kid, to finding different ways to incorporate what you do now, both personally and professionally. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
I think it's the most important. I mean, not to be. I mean, no, that's such a typical artist answer, and sometimes we can be able to take ourselves a little too seriously and be a little self-important. But really, I mean, what is it to be human than the exploration of creative thought? Like, creative thought is so important. Creative expression is so important. It's how we connect with each other. It's how we record our history and stories, and storytelling. That's we're passing knowledge, we're passing skills, we're passing opinions and philosophy, and even dumb shit like you can write off VTubing and stuff, but there's community around it. There's there's exploration. People are they're learning about the creative process and getting inspired, and like that's important too. Like, all of us are doing what we do today because we saw something when we were younger that inspired us, where we were like, hey, that's cool, how do I do that? I want to be a part of whatever that is. So it's just, I think it's so important. And like, we're not going to be able to stop the whole AI thing. They're going to keep pushing it on us, but fortunately there's like a bit of a stink on it. There's a stigma. And that we have that working for us. And again, like, we're in it's so weird because we have this existential threat looming over us, but at the same time, again, like, we're in this era of, like, I feel like it is a golden era of indie. And that's important, and it's rewarding, and yeah, just whether you like to create music or perform or podcast or animate or draw or whatever, just keep doing it.
I think that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Gabo, that is all the questions I have for you today. Obviously, I have showered you with Lord knows how much praise at this point, but I'm gonna shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what the fuck I want. Um, like I've
Okay, I won't stop you. It's fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I know. Look, I know common courtesies thing. No, regardless, like I kind of illustrated ever since from the start. Like you have been a really incredible, like it's been really cool to see the creativity you're able to display more than anything else, because I mean, like the way you're able to project yourself and the way you're able to present yourself more than anything else, it's one of the most unique it's one of the most unique and intuitive ways that I have seen on, you know, any sort of creative platform more than anything else. And it's really cool to see how much you're able to take that and you know, includes, be a part of such a unique community on its own and be one of the shining spotlights at this point, like really finding a way to showcase that to so many people, and especially hearing like how you even got up to this point, that love for the arts and animation and stuff that kind of was a good foundation for the person that we're talking to today. Like I already knew going into this was going to be a fun, fantastic conversation, but honestly this was even better than I could have ever imagined. Like my love and respect for you is through the roof. There is no longer a roof. There's a giant hole that the rain is coming in on because of that love and respect that
dude, no, seriously, I really appreciate that. And we had not really spoken before this.
Exactly.
And, as soon as we bonded over forklifts, I was like, okay, we're in this.
Exactly.
This is a sacred bond. We've bonded over heavy machinery, over forklifts.
Exactly.
No, you're an absolute pleasure, man, and I love what you're doing. Like I really share a lot of your opinions and sentiment, and I really love the types of guests you have on.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're doing. And again, like I got to go back and start catching up on episodes I've missed, because I love the types of guests that you're eager to talk to, and I love like your curiosity about these sort of like obscure internet personalities and content creators. Like that stuff is so interesting to me. Like I love that shit.
I mean, that's a major reason why I wanted to get you on the podcast as well. Like not just with like how you've been able to project yourself, but like that I could have sensed from the first moments we were talking more than anything else, that kind of love and curiosity as well for just kind of what's out there in one form or fashion. Like that openness to just be like, this is a thing, let's let it go, let's let it roll, like this is gonna be a good time, I'm here for a good time at the end of the day. And like I'm so glad that you're able to not only have that love and curiosity, but to showcase that to other people, and how other people are showcasing that love right back to you. I mean,
thank you. Yeah,
I was gonna say I could go on for another 30 minutes, just, you know, giving you nothing but compliments after compliments. Dude. But I think the long and the short of it is, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being such an incredible person, and keep up the incredible work in one form or fashion. Because any of the love you've gotten up to this point, you deserve that and then some. So thank you.
That's so generous, dude. Like I appreciate that so much, genuinely. And like, look, like there's such an abundance of everything online. Like it's so oversaturated, the internet, with content, and it's so distracting. So, you know, like as an artist, it is really difficult and intimidating to find your audience and have your stuff be seen at all. So like I really appreciate people like you, and I would not be doing what I'm doing without the support of, you know, the community and people like you. And I love podcasts like yours and what you're doing, because I've discovered some of my favorite artists through these types of podcasts.
Yeah.
Because it really is like, it's so hard to find, and the things that really truly resonate with you online. You have to do a lot of digging. So when there's someone like you who's like, I'll do the digging for you, I'll show you all the coolest shit out there, like it's fine, I'll do the heavy lifting. I'm like, thank you so much for making our lives easier, because like people like you introduced me to so many inspiring artists. And like, oh cool, like yeah, it is really fun to watch these kinds of things, and to discover again like new artists that you didn't know about. When you discover somebody who inspires you, like it's a great fucking feeling. So yeah, no, likewise, thank you so much for your passion and doing what you do too. And you're not Tan Mom. Get out of here, Tan Mom.
There's
Cellini.
There's Cellini.
There's the life. There's the life that that's his actual photo. That is the life coach that I spoke to.
Right.
But I don't think he liked me very much. He told me that I need to start wearing hats. He told me I need to be if I want to improve myself, I need to become a hat guy. But
So just pull out the Dodgers hat that you had for the one LA live stream or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, gotta represent.
You gotta
the hometown.
But also, like, genuinely, thank you for the kind words. They do mean a lot. Though you don't need to butter me up at this point. All right, we've already gone through the full episode.
No,
of the
I
podcast.
know. We're really going at it right now. But no, it's all true. I'm very, I'm a sentimental guy, and I think it's important that we, again, more now than ever, with the threat against creativity with AI, like, we really truly have to support each other as artists, and kind of strategize and organize together to put good work out there so that mainstream audiences, I think it's working. I think they recognize quality and passion over soulless AI slop. So
exactly. It's the least I can try to do in, like you said, such an oversaturated field such as this one. I mean, if what I'm doing even gets a few more eyes onto someone that they may have never heard about before, and either gives them their new obsession or inspires them to try something new, then I've done my job as a podcast host.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing with streaming and VTubing, like, it is so easy to start, guys. Like, you could make a little reactive on Discord. You can turn a GIF into a VTuber, and you could start doing it too. And there's different levels of it. You could do a 3D model. You could do a PNG tuber that's a little more simple. You can do something like what I'm doing, which is like a step above a PNG tuber, still kind of limited. I was trying to go for that Saturday morning cartoon vibe. Like, with Character Animator, I could add like parallax and like head rotations, but I purposely wanted to keep Gob kind of flat, make him feel like a show you would have seen, on like Nickelodeon or something.
Exactly.
Or on Cartoon Network, whatever. But yeah, like, explore new mediums and creativity. And if you're at all curious about VTubing, like, just go for it. It's really easy to get into. You don't have to have a fancy model to do something unique and fun. Like I said, you could literally just turn an animated GIF of a character into a reactive on Discord that will react to your voice, and there you go. Now you're a VTuber. You can get started tomorrow.
Now, if people want to see more about the VTubing that you've been having and you've been doing for quite some time now, where can people find more about you? Go ahead and plug yourself for the people down. Plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you.
I probably should have made like a lower third or something, but yeah, you could just look me up on. I know I'm very prepared. You could just look me up on thisisgoblin.com, and all my links to all my socials and Twitch and everything are on thisisgoblin.com.
And I'll be sure to have that link and maybe a few of the other ones for people to go and follow you. I'll have them in the description below. I got you covered. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Just thank you so much for featuring VTubers.
Oh yeah.
It is kind of a weird niche thing. There is a little bit of a stigma on VTubers. When people hear VTubers, even people that are familiar with it, they typically think of, again, like the idol culture, the big titty anime girl, that's the stereotype attached to it, but it is really expanded into something so much bigger. And again, if you like big titty anime girls, there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's a lot of really talented big titty anime girls, but there's a huge variety, and the term VTuber has become a very wide net of content. So thank you so much for featuring us and the weird shit that we're up to. And I really appreciate how open-minded you are, and appreciative you are of like all creativity in all its forms. And thanks to all your viewers and everyone watching. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I was gonna say real quickly, I'm pretty sure that like people have the same mentality with VTubing as they probably have with animation. They have a very narrow mind niche thing that they think that it's a certain thing, when in reality it could be so much more if given the opportunity.
Especially in Western culture, you're totally right. I feel like we are breaking free of that a little bit. Like a recent show, this is my recommendation for anyone watching, that Common Side Effects show.
Yes.
I think is like a really groundbreaking animated series, because It's not. It's an adult thriller. It's a thriller. It could have been a live action show. And in animation, for the longest time, a big thing when you're pitching an animation, they would always be like, well, this doesn't need to be animated. This could just be a live action show. Therefore, it's not worth animating it. But I feel like animation is now finally being taken seriously in other genres, not just like kids content or adult comedy. Like we can watch sci-fi thrillers, all kinds of stuff in animation. So I feel like Western culture, it's catching up a little bit, but you're totally right. There is like a stereotype that's still applied to animation as like a kid's genre or whatever.
But yeah, I think that is wonderful to end on. And with that, all I have left to say is for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
I commission artists all the time. I'm a DIY VTuber, but I that gob sculpture you saw, that was an indie artist, Lady V Monstrosities. I love commissioning artists, even as an artist myself. Yes, you're 100% right. I love that message. Look deeply into my eyes. Commission an artist tomorrow, even if it's like a $15 drawing. Commission an artist.
There you go. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Sincerely, this was a fun and exciting episode that I'm so glad we got a chance to do. Goblin, if you've gotten up to this point, thank you, sincerely, for taking the time to do this. You were an absolute blast, and I sincerely cannot wait for us to get to interact more, because, Jesus Christ, you were fun. It was so fun, guys. I sincerely thank you guys all for the continuous love and support that I've been getting with the podcast. I know it was a bit weird in the intro to kind of do something other than promote myself and the guests, but, you know, I've come to this realization more than anything else that I can try to shout my name out to the stars until I'm blue in the face, but there's only so much I can do to promote myself. I can only do so much. Everything else is outside of my hands. So while I would love to tell you guys about the incredible designs that we have in the merch shop, or the fantastic Discord server that we have, which, yeah, links to those are in the description below. With the platform I have been building, especially as of late, I feel like it would be a better use of it to try to get other people help if I can. You know, like I did it recently with Gearpunk, and I don't know how successful it was, but you know what? If it got at least one of you guys to donate even just a little bit, or if it got you guys to help spread the word, that's all I could ever ask for. I want to be a force for good in this world. I mean, for God's sakes, we're all hurting. I'm hurting. I cannot tell you how badly my back has been killing me for the past week or so. But we're all hurting right now. So if there's anything I can do to bring a little comfort in one form or fashion, whether it be the fun conversation that you just listened to, or bringing awareness to something that someone out there can actually help out with, then I'm going to do it. There's a lot of negativity and a lot of pain in this world, and I stand by my mantra that I live when it comes to life. I want to make sure that no matter what happens, no matter what I do, I want to make sure I leave this world better than when I entered it. It's not going to be the biggest impact. It's not going to be the most dramatic. But if I can make sure that a couple people are inspired, or a couple people just get to live a little bit longer, or a couple people are able to survive longer than they would have without me, then I've done my job on this earth. And I sincerely hope that that's a mentality that you guys carry with you with whatever you do. Whether it be going forth and making that incredible art piece that you've been dying to get done, or whether it's being there for your friends whenever they need you the most. Strive to make this world just a little bit better.